Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu Shtachavul Hadam Rabdov Kadoshu Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu Shtachavul Harkat Choki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai Tzvaos Imanu B'Skablanu Elohei Kavsela Adonai Tzvaos Hashem Adam B'Teach Bach Adonai Hoshia Melech Yaneinu V'Yom Kareinu Hoshia Zman. Bani B'Chatzecha B'Tak Yageli B'Bishu Asecha Shir Adonai Kigam Alalai. Kitov Adonai Liyam B'Kasav Yadav Adorim Unaso Yehi Chavod Adonai Liyam. V'hurachum yechaper Rabba Malo Yashchiz V'Yirbalashev V'Pabalo Yeir Kachamaso Adonai Hoshia Melech Yaneinu V'Yom Kareinu Asher Yasher Yesecha Odos. Bazei Chesed Chamas Bielachol Chayrat Son Tzadik Adonai B'Chol Rachov. Tehillah Adonai Yedaber Pi V'Barei Kabashesh Kashol Yilam V'Yad V'Nacht and the Baruch Yah Yetav V'Olam Hallelujah Hallelujah. Yimlo Adonai Li'Olam Elohai Tziyalo Davradar Hallelujah Hallelujah. Magid Barav Yaakov Chukav Mishpatav Yisrael Lo Asachen L'Chol Goyim Mishpatim B'Yadaum Hallelujah Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Hashem Adonai Kedeskav Shemo Levado Hodo Al Eretz V'Shamayim V'Yarem Karen Liyamot Hilal Chal Chayshatav L'Nei Yisrael Am Krovo Hallelujah Hallelujah. Lesom Al Chayim B'Zigim V'Nich B'Dayim V'Chavei V'Azel Asos B'Hem Mishpat Kasuvador Hulu Chal Chasidav Hallelujah Hallelujah. Kol Hanashamat Hallelujah Hallelujah. Kol Hanashamat Hallelujah Hallelujah. Baruch Adonai. Baruch Shem Kvodo Li'Olam V'Yimalech Kvodo Etzchol Haaretz Amen V'Amen V'Yivarech V'Yivarech. Atahu Adonai Elohim Asher Brakata B'Avraham V'Ozesu Me'yor Kasib V'Sam T'Shemo Abraham U'Matzase Es L'Bavonem Malafanecha V'Cherosim. V'Hayom B'Kata L'V'Nahem V'Yavru V'Soch Hayom V'Yavasha V'Yeshut Fe'em Mishlach L'V'M Nisraelos K'mo Evin V'Mayim Azim V'Yoshad Amen. Vayar Yisrael as Hayad Hagadola Asher Asa Adonai B'Mitzrayim Vayiruhu Amaz Adonai Vayaminu B'Adonai B'Moshe Avdo. Kilanayim locha Moshe Bagim Yolam Mashim Ratzion Lishpotas Aresa Vaitzalonay Mocha V'Hayadonay L'Melech Al Kol Haaretz B'Yomo Yadonay Echad U'Shmo Echad. Mishtabach Shem. Berachos v'Oz Me'Yatav Yadalam Baruch Atah Adonai El Melech Adonai El Hadoz Adonai Lefaoz Abacher B'Shivir Zimra Melech El Chayil Amim Yizkadav Litzkadash Mehraba Yalamad Yivrach Yerusayf Yom Nechmach Hosei B'Chay Yechad V'Yimechad B'Chay Yedechol Beis Yisrael B'Golav Zman Kariv V'Imru Amein Yehishmei Rabba Mavarach Le'olam Olmei Olmayam Yisbarach, Vishtabach, Vizbar, Vizramam, Vizazei, Vizador, Vizalev, Vizalol, Shmei, the good Shabarechu, Le'elam in Kobra Chasav, Shirasa, Tushbachasav, Nechamasa, Damiran Bielma, Vimru Amein, Baruchu, Es Adonai, Hamavarach, Baruch, Adonai Hamavarach, Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Adonai Melchlam, Yoter Or, Barei Choshech, Choshech Shalom Barei, Asakol. B'chulam potzichim esbihem b'kdushav the Rabbi Sharabi Zimra u'muvarachim u'mushabachim u'mufa'arim u'ma'aritzim u'makdishim u'mamlichim B'chulam mekabelim aleihem u'mocha shamayim zemizev v'nosanim rishuz zelazeh l'hakdish liyotzram v'nachas ruach b'safa v'ra u'v'nima k'dushav kolim chachadonim v'yamarim v'yiram Bofanim v'chayos HaKodesh Barash Kadom Misnatzim L'matzarafim U'masam Shabachim v'yomerim Archadash Al-Tzion Toyir V'nizkech L'ana Meira L'yara Baruch Atah Adonai Yotzer HaMe'oros Amin Rahman, Okay, Rav Ta'anu, Lishim Chagad Sela Bemes, Lo Dod Zalcha Yached Rabbi Hava, Baruch Atah Adonai, Habocher B'Amo Yisrael B'Yahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Adonai Elohechem Emes. L'davada hukayam shmo kayam v'chisan nachon u'malchuso v'en menosol akayam es. Malkeinu melech avosenu go aleinu go avosenu yotzerenu Tisha asenu podenu umatzulenu me'olam shemecha in Elohim zulasecha zrasos Ashrei ish ish mazusacha Tehillah, Leila Yom Baruchum Barach Moshe Bnei Yisrael Achan Sharabi Zamcha Rabba V'Yamru Chulam Shira Chadasha Shebechu Gilin L'Shemcha Al Sfas Hayam Yachad Kulam Odu V'Yamlichu V'Yamiru Adonai Yimlach Le'Laved Zui Yisrael Kuma B'Yazrat Yisrael L'Teichu Mecha Yudav Yisrael Go Aleinu Adonai Tzva Shema Kadosh Yisrael Baruch Ato Adonai Go Al Yisrael Adonai Shvasai Teftoka V'Yagidu L'Secha Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu V'Elevaseinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Ho El Gadol Hagibar Ben Arel Yom Gamel Chasadim Tovim B'Kner Kol V'Zochei Chasei Avos U'Mibigo Elim Nevihem L'Man Shemo B'Yava Melech Hazer M'Shem Hagein Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Abraham Atah Gibor L'Olam Adonai Mechem Yisim Atah Rav L'Shiyah Mechalkel Chem Chesed Mechem Yisim Barachim Rabim Samech Noflim B'Rofei Chulim U'Matiyas Urim Kayem U'Mnasol Shnei Afami Chamocha Bal Grosim U'Damalach Melech Ben Mizum Chayem Atzmech Yeshua Ben Amanat Halach Yos Meisim Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayei HaMeisim Amen. Nekadesh Shemcha Balam Kishen Shmagdishim Oso B'Shmei Maram Kakusu V'Yanu Yechav Karazel Zev Yamar Kadosh 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 Adonai Tzvaos V'Lo Chalaros Kavod L'Masamar Chameru Baruch Kavod Adonai Mimkamod D'Rei Kachakos Suflei Mor Yimloch Adonai L'Yolam Elayik Tziyam L'Davadar Hallelujah L'Davadar Nigigalecha Netzach L'Tzachim K'Shachan Akdish V'Shevchach Eloheinu Mipila Lo Yomush L'Yolam V'Ed Kiyam El Chadav V'Chadashat Baruch Atah Adonai O El HaKadosh Atah Chanein L'Adam Da'az Umlamed L'Edosh B'No Chanein Me'Lechad Ye'Yabin Abba Eskel Baruch Atah Adonai Chonein HaDoaz Hashebeinu Avinu D'Hosecha V'Kaveinu Malkeinu L'Abadosecha V'Chazreinu B'Shuvah Shleim Alefanecha Baruch Atah Adonai Rotzeh B'Shuvah Slach Lanu Avinu Ki Chatan L'Malkan L'Makenu K'Vashanu K'Mocheh V'Salecha Baruch Atah Adonai Chanun Amar Belis Lo Ach Re'ev Anyenu V'Rirav Goleinu Me'ira L'man Shmecha Ki Goel Chazak Atah Baruch Atah Adonai Goel Yisrael Anenu Adonai Anenu B'Yom Tzom Tanisenu Ki B'Tzara Gadola Anachnu Al Teven Arishenu V'Al Taser Panechem Mimenu Al V'Al Tisalam Mitchinasenu Heyena Karov L'Shavasenu Yina Chazdarol Nachamenu Terem Nekoi Lecha Anenu Kadavar Shenamar V'Hayat Terem Yigra'u V'Aniya Ene Odhei Medaberim V'Aniya Shma Ki Ata Adonai Ha'onep Eis Sarab Hodem Matzil B'Chaleis Sarab Tzukah Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'onep Eis Sarab Rafeinu Adonai V'Nevei Hoshenu V'Yashayach Ki Zazenu Ata V'Alei Rufuah Shleima L'Chama Chasenu Ki El Melech Rafei Neman Rachaman Ata Baruch Atah Adonai Rofei Cholei Amo Yisrael Barech Aleinu Adonai Leheinu Es Hashanah Zos V'Eskom Minei Sv'Sah L'Tava V'Zein Baracha Apnei Adama V'Sabeinu B'Dava V'Varation Hasenu Kashanim Atavos Baruch Atah Adonai Mevarech Hashanim Tikab B'Shafar Gadol L'Chei Rizenu V'Sandei S'Klabei S'Kol Yitzenu Kabsenu Yachad Me'arba Kambos Aretz Baruch Atah Adonai V'Chabei Tzivkei Amo Yisrael Hashiva Shavatenu K'Vashana Yotzenu Katkula V'Aster Mimenu Yigamenacha M'Lochaleinu Atah Adonai L'Vadecha B'Chesed V'Rachamim V'Tzadikenu B'Mishpat Baruch Atah Adonai Melech Ohev Tzedakah Mishpat V'Lam Hashanim Al Tihisik B'Bachol Harisha Kirek Taved V'Chol Evei Amcha Mehira Yekaresu V'Zadim Arazaker Ushaber Smageh V'Sachniya B'Mrav Yamenu Baruch Atah Adonai Shover Oyevim Machniya Zeidim Al Tadikim Yal Chazadim Yal Zignim Cha Beis Yisrael V'Yaplatas Sofranim V'Geres Zedek V'Eleinu Yamu Rachamecha Adonai Eloheinu Seizakatov L'Chol Abotchim Mishcham Emes V'Simchal Keinu Yimahem Li'olam V'Lo Nevashki B'Cha B'Tachno Baruch Atah Adonai Mish'an B'Vtach Tasadikim Yerushalayim Yacha Barachamim Tashuv V'Sasham V'Sachach Hashidei Barata Uvnei Asach B'Karav B'Yameinu B'Nyan Olam V'Chisei David Meira L'Sachach Tachin Baruch Atah Adonai Uvnei Yerushalayim Et Samach David Abdacham Re'Ras Asmeach V'Karno Tumish V'Secha Ki L'Shosacha Ki L'Yam Baruch Atah Adonai Matzmiach Kem Yeshua Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Chutz Rachem Aleinu V'Gabei Barachim V'Tzon Es Tefilaseinu Ki El Shomei Tfilos V'Sachnum Ata U'Melpanacham Akein Reikam Ata Shivenu Ki Ata Shomei Tfilas Amchayis Barachamim Baruch Atah Adonai Shomei Tfilah Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu B'Mchai Yisrael B'Yisrael Sam B'Shev Esavalad V'Avadalut V'Ybesecha V'Ishei Yisrael V'Yisrael Sam B'Havas T'Kebel Ratzon V'Zvi Ratzon Tamid Avidat Yisrael Amecha V'Zechazena Einenu V'Shuvacha L'Tzion B'Rachamim Baruch Atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinaso L'Tzion Modim Anachnu Lach Shato Adonai Eloheinu V'Leusenu L'Aret Tzor Chayim Egein Shenu Atah L'Davadar Nodelecha U'Ntzabet Yasachal Chayinu Hamshir V'Decha V'Yal Shabasenu B'Gol Splach V'Yisachal Shabachayim Meno Beyond the Pesach of those Zechus, Chol Eis, Erev, Boker, Tzarayim, Hato, Kilo, Cholaracham Elcha, Bramachem, Kilo, Samachazadacham, Elam, Kibin Alach, Yao Kalami is Parach, Samam, Shemchamakina, Tamid, Lilam Bed, Dukolach, Hayim, Duchasela, Vialalu, Shavchavemes, Hoel, Chasen, Rasasenu Sela, Baruch, Hata, Adonai, Hato, Shemcholachanu Elahodos. Sim Shalom Tova Bracha Chaim V'Chesed Rachamim Aleinu V'Kaisel Necha Baruchinu Abinu Kalana Kiyacha V'Yabenecha Kiv Yabenecha L'Sad Alanu Adonai Eloheinu Torah Zchanim Yaves Chesed Utzedakah Uvracha V'Rachamim V'Chaim Shalom V'Do Beinecha L'Reiches Amcha Yisrael B'Chol Eis V'Chol Shab B'Shalomecha Baruch Ato Adonai Hamavarechas Amo Yisrael B'Shalom Yiskadal Yiskadash Mehrabah Yelamad Brachi Rusei V'Amlech Machusei V'Chayechon V'Mechon V'Chayei L'Chol Beis Yisrael B'Galav Izman Karib V'Imru Amei Yishmei Rabam Barach Olam Lamei Almaya Yisbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yitzba'ar V'Yishumam V'Yiznasei V'Yizadar V'Yizaleh V'Yizalal Shemei T'Kudusha B'Richu Le'ela Min Kol B'Rachasa V'Shirasa Tushb'Chasa V'Nechem Asad Amiram V'Yamav V'Imru Amei Vahi ben Zaron Vayomer Moshe.
Shabbat Molchos Salim Son Kavachom play das mo base all of Meno classes for moving tomorrow. Meno call up this new Kabbalah Torah from Kadiyamot. Rabbi Seven. Rabbi Yosef Kalo in verses on Talmud Salvik Tisha Tamad Bekim Baruch Chayim Kolchem Hayom.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Adonai Baruch Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shebach habanim mikol ha'amim v'nosan lanu es toroso Baruch Adonai nosein ha'torah.
Amen. Kisole bonim uvnei bonim v'noshantem ba'aretz v'ishchatem v'asisem pesel tamun askol v'asisem ora b'nei Adonai lecholach iso haydo sivachem hayom es hashemayim v'yeso ha'aretz Ki avo tovedon maher me'al haaretz asher atem overim es hayarden shamal l'rishto lo sarichun yamim aleha ki shameti shamidun ve'fitz Adonai eschem bo'amim v'neshartem mesei mispar bagoyim asher yinaheg Adonai eschem shama v'avadtem sham Elohim ma'aseh yedei adam Eitz v'even asher lo yirun v'lo yishmun v'lo yocholun v'lo yirichun uvikashtem misham es Adonai Elohecha u'matzasa ki sidrashenu b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nosan lanu Torah semes v'chayei olam v'tabazuchenu Baruch Adonai nosein ha'torah.
Amen Yaved. Rabbi Yaakov Menachem ben Moshe Halevi.
Amen. Batzar lecha umtzocha kol hadavorim ho'ele b'acharis hayamim v'shavto ad Adonai Elohecha v'shamato b'kolo ki El rachum Adonai Elohecha lo yarpecha v'lo yashkisecha v'lo yishkach esperis avosecha asher nishba lohem ki shalna L'yamim rishonim asher ayu lefanecha L'min hayom asher bara Elohim Adam al haaretz U'l'miktzei hashamayim v'adketzei hashamoyim haniyah Kadavar agadol hazeh hanishma kamahu hashoma'am Kol Elohim medaber mitoch ha'esh kasher shomata ato vayechi'o Haniso Elohim lavo lo kachas lo goy mikerev goy b'masos bosos uv'mofisim uv'milchama uv'yor chazaka uv'izro anituyo uv'moraim gidolim kichol asher oso lochem Adonai Elohichem b'mitzrayim leinecha ato harei soladas ki Adonai hu Elohim einod milevado
Adonai Elohim Hashem Asama Torah Semes B'chayei Olam Natav Zchon Baruch Adonai Nosin Torah
Amen. Yamad Moshe Kiva Ben Archayim Shlishi.
B'chus Adonai Amarav Adonai Baruch Elam Led Asher B'charbanu Mikol Ha'amim and Asam Lanu Es Torah So Baruch Adonai Nosin Torah.
Amen. Min hashamayim ishmiacho es kolo yasereko v'yaloretz heracho es isho agdulo dvorov shemata mitocho eish v'sachas ki yohaves avosecha vayevchar bizaro acharav vayotziacha b'fanav b'chocho hagadol mimitzroyim leorish goyim gedolim v'atzumim mimecha miponecha laviacha v'oses lecha es artzam nachalach hayom hazeh v'yodato hayom v'ashevosa el levavecha Ki Adonai hu Elohim v'shamayim imal v'al haaretz mitochas einod v'shomarta es chukav v'es mitzosav asher anochi mitzavecha hayom asher yitav lecha u'levanecha acharecha u'leman tarich yomim al ha'adama asher Adonai Elohecha nosein lecha kol hayomim
To Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher nasam lanu Torah semes v'chayei olam natav b'sochenu baruch to Adonai nosin Torah.
Guys, Kadash, Rabbi, Rabbi, say, Yom Kippur, I'll say, I can't even find the Chovy, since Rabbi Galos, not Rebby, Amen.
Amen. Babosha kol kamis palaram sasa kadosh bachim alarachim alem lachem amalabal samnus kamnis hameslachem v'osleim eneshpam chol v'lorab v'shosag gidab sofisal first nefesh v'sagu hashtab v'lazon kivin umar amen avinush bashmaim susal galo breches b'nai solushis michas gulasenu hagen al lebervasal stavos lesugach l'macha v'shtachor chavam n'chalash asravit tzakni b'tzatval mofnacha chazekis m'genes kachen man kalim al hinjot dem nasatas parts simchas olam neshva v'sachin kol v'sal kanam chalatzas b'sehem so the camera comments of Cercle Shlamishkan Shmacha Kuzusos Moshavdacha Yenitra Sham Sham Gabat Hadan Alacham Sham Kacha Habib Hadan Alacha let's show Yeshua Basar Tabdiv Khaver Bkhami Yosacha Yakhel Venu Lev Shmach Lashmas Kalverso Sacha Shalpen David Bishit Kaldas Pike Kets Sacha Rasachal Kalers Velatacha Markalash and Shmabi Apora is Halmach Masaba Kamashala means Salah
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher bochar b'nviim tovim v'rotzav v'divreihem amorim be'emes Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo b'nviei ha'emes v'tzedek Asof asifeim ne'um Adonai ein Anovim b'gefen v'yein teinim b'teino והעולה נובל, בועטין להם יעברום. על מה אנחנו יושבים, היאספו ונבוא, אל הורי המבצר ונתמשם. כי אדוני אלוהינו, הדימנו וישכנו מראש, כי חטאנו לאדוני. קווה לשלום ואין טוב, לעש מרפא והנה ועשה. מדון נשמע נחרס סוסיו, מכל מצלוס אביריו, רעשה כל הארץ, ויבואו, ויאכלו ארץ ומלואה, עיר ויושבי בה. כי הנני משלח בכם נחשים צפונים אשר אין להם לחש ונשכו אסכם נאום אדוני מבלי גיסי עלי יגון עלי ליבי דווי הנה כל שבס בס עמי מארץ מרחקים, אדוני אין בציון, עם מלכה אין בה, מדוע הכיסוני בפסיליהם בהבלי נכר, עבר קציר כל הקיץ, ואנחנו לא נושענו. על שבר בס עמי השפרתי, קדרתי שמה החזיקסני. הצורי אין בגלעד, עם רופא אין שם, כי מדוע לא עלסה ארוחס בס עמי. מי ייתן ראשי מים ועיני מקור דמעה ואבכה יומם ולילה אס חללי בס עמי. מי ייתנני במדבר מילון אורחים ואעזבה אס עמי ואלך מאיתם. כי כולם מנאפים עצרס בוגדים וידרכו אס לשונם קשתם שקר ולא לאמונה גברו בארץ כי מרעה אל רעה יצאו ועושי לא ידעו נאום אדוני. איש מרעהו הישמרו, ועל כל אח אל תבטחו, כי כל אח עקוב יעקב, וכל רע רכיל יהלוך. ואיש ברעהו יחסלו, ואמס לא ידברו, לימדו לשונם. דבר שקר האבי נילאו, שבתך בסוך מרמה, במרמה, מענו דעשוסי נאום אדוני. לכן, כה אמר אדוני צבאות, הנני צורפם ובחנתים, כי איך אעשה מפני בס עמי. חץ שחוט לשונם מרמה דיבר בפיו. שלום אסרעהו ידבר ובקרבו ישים ארבו. הלילה לא אפקד בם נאום אדוני. אם בגוי אשר כזה לא ששנקם נפשי. Al Harim Esa V'chivanehi V'al Neos Midbar Kina Ki Nitzisu Mibli Shover V'lo Shamu Kol Mikneh Me'of Hashamayim V'yad Behema Nadidu Halachu V'nasati Es Yerushalayim Ligalim Me'on Tanim V'yesarei Yehuda Etein Shemama Mibli Yosef Mihai Shechacham V'yavein Es Zos V'asher Diber Pi Adonai Elav V'yagida Al Ma Avida Haaretz Nitzasach Hamidbar Mibli Over Vaya Omer Adonai Al Azvam Esto Rasi Asher Nasati Lifnehem V'lo Shamu V'koli V'lo Holchuva Vaya Elechu Acharei Shirirus Libam V'acharei Habe'alim Asher Limedum Avosam Lochein Ko Amar Adonai Tzivaos Elohei Yisrael Hineni Ma'achilam Esa'am Hazeh La'ana V'hishkisim Meherosh V'hafitzosim Bagoyim Asher Lo Yadu Hema V'avosam V'shilachti Achareihem Es HaCherev Ad Kalosi Osam Ko Amar Adonai Tzivaos Hisbonenu V'kiru Lam Konenos Usvoena V'al HaChachamos Shilchu V'savona Usmaherna V'sisena Aleinu Nehi V'seiradna Einenu Dima V'afapenu Yizlumayim Ki Kol Nehi Nishma Mitzion Eich Shudanu Boshnu Me'od Ki Azavnu Aretz Ki Hishlichu Mishkenosenu Ki Shemana Nashim Devar Adonai V'sikach Oznechem Devar Piv V'lamedna V'nosechem Nehi V'isharu Usah Kina Ki Allah Maves B'chalonenu Ba Be'armenosenu Lehachris Olal Michutz Bachurim Merechovos Daber Ko Neum Adonai V'nafala Nivlas Ha'adam Kidomen Al Pnei HaSodeh Uchamir Me'acharei HaKoser Ve'ein Me'asef Ko Amar Adonai Al Yishalel Chacham B'chachmaso V'al Yishalel Hagibor B'guraso Al Yishalel Ashir B'ashro Ki Im Bezos Yishalel HaMishalel Haskel V'yado Ha'osi Ki Ani Adonai Oseh Chesed Mishparut Tzedakah Ba'aretz Ki Ve'elech Chafatzti Neum Adonai Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Sur Kol HaOlamim Tzadik B'chol HaDoros Hoel HaNe'eman HaOmer V'yoseh HaMedaber U'Mekayim Shekol Devarav Emes V'Tzedek Ne'eman Atahu Adonai Eloheinu V'ne'emanim Devarecha V'davar Echad Midevarecha Achor Lo Yashuv Rekam Kel Melech Ne'eman V'Rachaman Ata Baruch Atah Adonai Hoel HaNe'eman B'chol Devarav Rachem al Tzion ki beis chayenu v'la'alu vas nefesh toshia b'mirav yameinu baruch atah Adonai v'sameach Tzion b'vaneha Samacheinu Adonai Eloheinu be'eliyahu avi avdecha u'v'malchus beis Avid mishichecha b'mheira yavo v'yagel libenu al kisolo yeshev zar v'le'nechalu od acherim es kvodo ki v'shem katshecha nishbata lo sholech b'nei ro li'olam vo'ed baruch atah Adonai Magen David.
Hallelujah, Shem Alek in the sky, Shem Alavad.
Where's Rob? Because I'm sorry to bother you, but in past years they stuck something over here. That's it, I'm done. Okay, thank you. I knew I could depend on you, you know it. I begin every year with an expression of Hakar Satov to Rabbi Soloveitchik, not just for the Torah that he taught, but for the entire model of starting after Shacharis on Tisha B'Av and then continuing throughout the entire day till around 5 o'clock. Until Rabbi Soloveitchik, the keynotes were basically unintelligible and mumbled through and not appreciated or fully understood. And he created this model in addition to so much else that he contributed to us, to open up the book of Kinos, to treat it as a worthy text of careful analysis and shed enormous light on the depth of wisdom that is found in the keynotes. Over the course of years, I've quoted less and less from him because I quoted more and more from him in the past and don't want to repeat myself. But this year, Dafka, I thought I wanted to come back and maybe quote a little bit more from him directly in the course of my own presentation. There are a number of achsanias that host us. Begin with Yeshiva University, with the Center for the Jewish Future, with Rabbi Yaakov Glasser, who's our dean, and particular thanks to Rabbi Rob Shore for putting together so much of the technical details that went into the, particularly the webcast, the worldwide webcast. We find ourselves in Keter Torah. We've been here now, this is the 15th year that I've been here. And to acknowledge Rabbi Shalom Baum and in particular Howie Grunschbecht, who's the person who makes everything in this shul happen, who was indispensable in arranging for all of the details and also the lay leadership of the shul. I've been asked to read the list of the sponsors of this presentation. You have some of them on the cover of the packet. So you should have a copy of the packet. Those of you who are watching online, I understand that in the same place where you're watching, if you click on something, you'll find the packet. You can either follow along or you could print it out. So the worldwide webcast is sponsored in commemoration of the 41st Yortzeit of Helen Friedman Kuflik, Huddle Ruchama Bas, Avram Shlomo Ve'eta Malka, and in memory of Betty Bloom Rakoff, Braina Ita Bas Chanoch Henoch, Ve'beina Rachel, and sponsored by Dr. Avi and Shuli Rakoff from Boston. In addition, here at Keter Torah, Diana and Michael Feintoch and family to commemorate the Yortzeit of Michael's grandfather, David Leib ben Shmuel Zelig, David Budman, Zichrono Livracha, Batya and Nachi Paul to commemorate the Yortzeit of Batya's grandfather, Chaim Eliezer ben Zalman Eli Moller, Zichrono Livracha, and in memory of Rachalea Bas Moshe Rochelle Shoritz. We also want to thank Susan Dworkin-Kass in commemoration of the 10th Yortzeit of her father, Chaim Moshe Yosef ben Eliakim Aryeh, Joseph Haberman, anonymous, to mark the Yortzeit of Tzvi ben Moshe Leib, Elaine and Scott Liebman, in memory of Rabbi Phil Cohen, Shragafayevo ben Harav Yisrael Zev, who I personally happen to know very well. It's his 31st Yortzeit. Joseph Shanebaum, Le'ilui Nishmas, his parents, Rabbi Binyamin ben Rabbi Yosef, and Sheva Bas Rav Binyamin, Zichronom Livracha, and Stacy Sand in memory of Mr. Felix Torgeman. There are also a number of shuls who are showing this webcast live in their shuls. I know of two. I also know there are more than two. Rabbi Avi Billet at Anshe Chesed Congregation in Boynton Beach. In Florida, Rabbi Levi Welton in the Lincoln Park Jewish Center. The challenge every year is to try to determine some kind of a relevance for Tisha B'Av. Some years it's easier, and some years it's harder. This year, actually, it happens to be a little bit easier because of the complications that we see in the world around us that we understand is directly related to the absence of a Beis HaMikdash. In the world Bechlal, in America, in Medinat Yisrael, we suffered a terrible loss just a couple of days ago of a young boy, 19 years old, who was slaughtered. And the absence of a Beis HaMikdash is not that difficult to feel. But generally, the challenge that we have is directly proportional to distance, which means the further away we are from the event of the Churban, the greater the distance, the greater the challenge. If you turn to page 1, there is a Midrash Echa Rabasi. The Midrash says in Echa Rabasi, in Pasuk, commenting on a Pasuk in Echa, in Perek Beis, Pasuk Beis, Bila Hashem v'lo chamol. We read it last night. There's a minig also among some to read it in the morning, but we don't follow that minig. We read it at night. Bila Hashem v'lo chamol. That God destroyed and didn't have any rachmanis, didn't have any mercy, as kol naos Yaakov, all the habitations of Bnei Yisrael. So 6 lines from the bottom, Rabbi Yochanan, Havedorish, Cheatin, Apin, Bebila Hashem, Velo Chomal. Rabbi Yochanan darshan 60 different interpretations. He had 60 different perspectives just on this pasuk. So when they were learning Eicha in his Beis Midrash, so he developed 60 points that he wanted to elicit from this pasuk, from these 6 words, 60 divrei Torah. But the Rebbe have a darish esrim v'arba'a apin. Rebbe darshan 24. Continues the Midrash lo the Rabbi Yochanan Yosef al Rebbe. It's not that Rabbi Yochanan was a greater scholar or had greater insight than Rebbe, that Rabbi Yochanan was able to rest, W-R-E-S-T, he was able to rest 60 pshatim, and Rebbe Nebuch was only able to pull out 24 pshatim. So that's not the interpretation. That's not what happened. El al yedei shahaya samach l'churban habayis haya nizkar v'haya dareshu boche. Because Rebbe was closer to the churban than Rabbi Yochanan, and so for him, he would darshan, and then he couldn't go on any further. He would darshan, he would stop, he would cry. He would darshan, he would stop, he would cry. So all he was able to muster was 24, not because he was less intellectually adept than Rabbi Yochanan, but because it was a much harder assignment for him, because it wasn't just the intellectual analysis, but it was also the emotional engagement that he felt very much more so than did even Rabbi Yochanan, because he lived that much closer. The Parish Anaf Yosef on the Midrash says the following, quotes in the second line in the parenthesis, Rabbi Yochanan Havedorish, Rebbe Havedorish, Cercle Yos Mikodem, Rebbe Havedorish Chav Dalid, V'achar Kach Rabbi Yochanan Havedorish Shitin Apin. Given the Sharabi Haya Kodem Rabbi Yochanan Bhisman V'haya Godel Meno. So the order should have been Rebbe first and then Rabbi Yochanan, because Rebbe chronologically preceded Rabbi Yochanan. Upirshu Shishim Maasim Shenasu BiYisrael Asher Aleihem Nemar Bila Hashem. And the interpretation here is that he developed 60 stories or 60 associations, and he doesn't really answer the question about the order. I think literarily it makes sense. First you put the 60 and then you put the 24 in order to beg the question. So if he had 60 and Rebbe, who's greater, had 24, you wonder why. So it sets up the Velo de Rabbi Yochanan Yosef al Rebbe. Continues the Anaf Yosef. Velo Rabbi Yochanan haya yodea yoser inyan achurban mishahaya yodea Rebbe shahaya lefanav harbe. It's not like he knew more about the Churban. He was able to analyze more. He had more information at his fingertips that he was able to utilize, interpreting this pasuk more so than did Rebbe. El Rebbe al yedei shahaya samach l'churban haya kasha alav uboche v'haya tzarich lehisnachem v'lifsok. It was hard for him. He would cry. Of Rabbi Yochanan lo haya kasha alav kol kach b'bnei shahaya achar hachurban harbe. So it wasn't so hard for him. So he was able to take the time and to be able to figure out 60 pshatim, because he was further away, so it wasn't so difficult. So we can only imagine Kal V'Chomer, Ben Benoshel Kal V'Chomer from Rebbe to Rabbi Yochanan was already not so difficult. So from Rabbi Yochanan to 2019, so it's extremely difficult. This is the challenge. Every year the challenge is, so was geht mir an? Like, what difference does it make? Because we understand very well that it's not just a matter of doing and of abstaining from doing, but as we will see, it's also a matter of experiencing, of thinking about it, of internalizing it. And you can only internalize it if you feel it. And the question is, how do you feel it when, if for Rabbi Yochanan it wasn't kosher kol kach, then certainly for us as well. This same mimer is found in a Yerushalmi. Yerushalmi in Tainus, at the bottom of the page in the 4th parak, on the mimer in the Mishnah of Nilka de Beitar. The Mishnah at the end of Tainus tells us about the 5 things that happen on Shavasa B'Tammuz, the 5 things that happen on Tisha B'Av. One of them is that Beitar was captured. Zakti Yerushalmi, it's now 6 lines from the bottom. Rebbe Hayadairesh Esrin Varba Uvdin Bila Hashem V'Lo Chomo. Rebbe darshan 24 events related to this pasuk, to these 6 words, or to these 4 words, Bila Hashem V'Lo Chomo. Rabbi Yochanan Darish Ashitin, 60. Frakti Yerushalmi Rabbi Yochanan Yoter Rebbe. What, Rabbi Yochanan was more chashuv than Rebbe? Ella al yedei the Rebbe have a samach l'churban beis mukdesha, have a taman savin nihirin. The Yerushalmi adds something, that because he was closer, Yerushalmi says that in the days of Rebbe, there were Alta Yidden who actually remembered the churban. So you figure out the chronology. I don't know exactly the dates of Rebbe, but Rebbe sat in the presence of old Jews who were around in the time of the Churban. So it's not just that Rebbe was closer. In the Eicha Rabasi, so Rebbe is closer, and Segeit Eman Mer, like he's more directly affected because he's closer. But it's mamish, not just closer, but it's mamish experiencing it. He's sitting with people who saw it. Rebbe da v'samach l'churban beis mukdesha have a taman sabenihirin. They were clear-minded. They were still sharp Alta Yidden. They weren't. Didn't have Alzheimer's. They were still crisp, and they remembered v'havedorish, and he would darshan v'inon bochin umishtatkin v'kaiman lo, and that they would cry. Umishtatkin means, we'll come back to this, means to yearn. To yearn. They were yearning for it. The reality of the Beis HaMikdash was very much in the forefront of their minds because they actually saw it. And then they saw it destroyed, and they yearned for it. And that affected the tenor of the conversation. The Kaimalan, and it was very real. It was very real for them. And therefore, Rebbe was only able to get out 24, as opposed to Rabbi Yochanan. When Rabbi Yochanan lived, there were no survivors. Rabbi Yochanan lived in a generation after the survivors. All the survivors of the Churban died already. So when all the survivors die, so you don't have the immediacy in front of you. Kozman, they're survivors. We know exactly what this means. Then we have a connection. Kozman, there are no survivors, then the connection is attenuated. It's cut off. It's not so direct. You have children of survivors and grandchildren of survivors. Rabbi Yochanan also had einiklach and einiklach of survivors, but it's not the same. Look at the Korban HaEdah. The Korban HaEdah in the middle on the right side, Chaf Daled Ovdin. Chaf Daled Ma'oros Koshos Hiskir Rebbe Shahayu B'Shas HaChurban V'nir Mozos B'Pasuk Bila Hashem V'Lo Chamo. That Merumaz in this pasuk, Rebbe was able to elicit 24 stories, difficult events that happened during the time of the Churban. Uparech Frakti Yerushalmi v'Rebbe Yochanan Yosef Rebbe Bitmiyah. But Rabbi Yochanan was more knowledgeable than Rebbe. V'halo Rebbe hayakarav l'churban beis hamikdash Yosef Rabbi Yochanan. Ubaki tfei b'ma'ora osahim. He was a bigger bucky than Rabbi Yochanan because he was closer. I'm sorry, the print is so small. So the answer is Havet Taman. Hayu Sham Zikenim. When Rebby was giving the Shiur on Bila Hashem V'lo Chomo, Hayu Sham Zikenim Shahayu Zochrin HaChurban. Ukeshahaya Rebby Doresh Mechurbono, Hayu Bochin Umitzta'arim. V'lo Haya Rebby Yochol Ligmor Kol HaMa'oros HaNermozos B'Pasuk. He couldn't finish. So he also knew 60. Maybe he knew 90. But he could only do 24, not like the Midrash says, because he was overwrought. But I think it's more poignant and more powerful because the audience was more overwrought, because there were survivors sitting in the audience. So in order to appreciate this and to understand it, and this simply just heightens the challenge for us just immeasurably, just endless fold. We need to try as best as we can to immerse ourselves in not just the story, but also the experience. So it has been pointed out that Tzvei Dinim, there are Tzvei Dinim in Tisha B'Av. One din is that Tisha B'Av is a Yom Tainis. So we know the pasuk in Zechariah, famous pasuk in Zechariah, where Zechariah says, and we'll come back to this, Komar Hashem, Tzom HaRavi, V'tzom HaChamishi, V'tzom HaShvi, V'tzom HaAsiri, Yeh L'Beis Yehuda, L'Sason U'L'Simcha. One of the nevuos of Zechariah HaNavi is that the 4 days, the fast of the 4th month, Shavasa B'Tammuz, the 5th month, which is Tisha B'Av, today's a Nidcha, it's a 10th of Av, and Tzom HaShvi is Tzom Gedalia, and Tzom HaAsiri is Asar B'Teves. One day will be L'Sason U'L'Simcha. So the Navi refers to this day as a Tzom. This is a fast day like other fast days. The top of page 2, the Mechaber in the Shulchan Aruch in Hilchos Tisha B'Av first presents it as a Tzom. Hilchos Tisha B'Av v'sha'ar ta'aniyos. It's framed in the context of being a fast day. And Siman Tov Kuf Memtes lehisanos dalet ta'anesim. We have to fast for fast days. Chayavim lehisanos b'Tisha B'Av b'Shivasa b'Tammuz b'Gimel b'Tishri b'Asar b'Teves mipnei dvarim ha'roim she'iru b'hem. But at the same time, Tisha B'Av is not just a Yom Tainis, but Tisha B'Av is also a Yom Avelos. If you look at the bottom of the page, the Gemara says in Tainis, on the Flamed Amid Aleph, towards the bottom, Toner Rabbana, beginning of the line, Kol mitzvos hanoah goes ba'avel, noah goes b'Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av is not just a fast day, but there's an additional layer. I don't know which is the first layer and which is the additional layer, but there's one layer, Tainis, and then there is also, or maybe at its core, Kol mitzvos hanoah goes ba'avel, noah goes b'Tisha B'Av, asu ba'achilu b'shasiyah. So that's what we have in common with the other Taniyos. And then Besicha, B'Neilas Hasando, Tashmish Hamita, and on top of that, V'asar Likros B'Torah B'Neviim U'B'Ksuvim, V'Lishnos B'Mishneh, B'Talmud, B'Medrash, B'Halachos, U'B'Agodos, that we're not allowed to study Torah. Spent a lot of time on that in the past. Aval, however, there are certain things that we are allowed to study, and that remains the focus on Tisha B'Av. If you turn to page 3, the Sefer HaChinuch folds the Inyanim of Tisha B'Av into the Inyanim of Yom Kippur. You understand very well that Tisha B'Av doesn't really belong in the Sefer HaChinuch, because the Sefer HaChinuch is a listing of all mitzvos midoraisa. All Taryag mitzvos are listed in the Sefer HaChinuch. Sefer HaChinuch, unlike the Sefer HaMitzvos of the Rambam, is in chronological order of their presentation in the Torah. From the beginning through Sefer Bereshis, where obviously there are very, very few, picking up primarily in Parshas Bo, Achodesh Zazel Lochem, which Rashi at the beginning of the Torah refers to as the Mitzvah Rishona Shenitztavu Bo Yisrael, and then it goes all the way through. The Rambam's Sefer HaMitzvos is more conceptual. It's divided first Mitzvah Saseh, Mitzvah Lo Saseh, and then within the mitzvah saseh, mitzvah lo saseh. It's conceptual, and I would say that, I don't know, for decades, I never understood the reason of the classification in the Sefer HaMitzvahs of the Rambam. Like, why does this mitzvah follow this mitzvah? I understand we divide mitzvah saseh, mitzvah lo saseh, but within them, there's a cheshbon. And recently, Dov Friedberg, who lives in Toronto, wrote an incredibly important book analyzing the order, the conceptual mahalach in the order of the way the Rambam in the Sefer HaMitzvos presents both the mitzvah saseh and mitzvah lo saseh. But the Sefer HaChinuch is in order. Sefer HaChinuch's classification is quite obvious and straightforward. And it's only Doraisa. No, Tisha B'Av is not a Doraisa. Tisha B'Av is a Darabanan. Tisha B'Av we just read it in the Navi, but it's not in the Torah. It can't be in the Torah. It didn't happen in the time of the Torah. But I'm a red shine in the Sefer HaChinuch about Yom Kippur, so Agav Grora, he talks about Tisha B'Av, top of page 3. Va'od askir lecha, third line, kan. This is in the Inyanim of Yom Kippur, Mitzvah Shin Yud Gimel in the Chinuch. Va'od askir lecha kan, Masha Omer Razal, gam kein b'tainis Tisha B'Av. In addition, I'll also mention what the rabbis refer to about the tainis of Tisha B'Av. Hayadua shehu midrabanan. V'afal pisha rechokim ma'od shnei hayamim elu b'taman u'b'chol inyana. It's true that the whole the core understanding and essence of Yom Kippur is rachok ma'od from that of Tisha B'Av b'taman u'b'chol inyana. However, nevertheless, lefisha shem tainis kolalan nidaber bo ma'at. Well, talk a little bit about it because Gzera Shavet, tainis, so we'll talk also about Tisha B'Av. V'hodiacha, and I'll let you know, she'echmiru bo chazal b'chol inyano kamo b'yom HaKippurim. And he gives an example, lahafsik mi ba'od yom, to start earlier in the day, sicha ne'ilas sasandol, tashmish hamita, ubros u'meinikos, shemisanos bo kisha'ar yom, Kisha'ar ha'am, that women who are pregnant or breastfeeding have to fast. They're more chumrous about ubros and meinikos on Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av than there are for other fast days. Masha'en kein b'shar taniyos. So the Sefer HaChinuch opens up Tisha B'Av, and the Minchas Chinuch jumps in with full force. The Minchas Chinuch commentary on the Sefer HaChinuch. So the Minchas Chinuch now uses this as an opportunity because the door was opened by the Sefer HaChinuch to spend a little bit about Tisha B'Av, and he makes this point, the Tzvei Dinim point. The Minchas Chinuch is one of the earliest that I found that explicitly notes the dual character of the day of Tisha B'Av. Quotes the Rambam, it's almost halfway down the line beginning Da'as Haram Sham. Vayin Rambam Parish Sham Mishnah Sof Tainis, but Mishnah the Chamisha Dvarim, I just referred to it a moment ago, the Mishnah that talks about the 5 events, enumerates the 5 events that happen on Shavuos B'Tammuz and on Tisha B'Av, Muvur, Beferish, the Yesh Tosfos, B'Tisha B'Av Kiyo B'Yom HaKippurim. Actually, the Rambam in the Mishnah Torah, and this I did, I believe, point out in the past, often refers to Yom Kippur in talking about Tisha B'Av. He'll tell a halacha about Tisha B'Av, Kiyo B'Yom HaKippurim, Kamo B'Yom HaKippurim. So there is an explicit, overt parallel drawn, in particular by the Rambam, not only by the Rambam, between Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur. V'nira Perusho, the Hadalid Inuyim B'Tisha B'Av, Chutz Ma She'asurim Mita'am Avelus, Chutz Ma she'asurim mitam avelus. Kimavur b'shas, the Gemara that we just read, called mitzvos hanogim ba'avel, nogim b'tisha b'av. V'hadalid inuyim anal asurim gam kein ba'avel. Mikol makom asurim gam kein b'tisha b'av, dehishvu hatainis liyom HaKippur. So the inuyim are not just inuyim mitzad tainis, i.e. parallel to Yom Kippur, but they're also a function of it being Avelus. Chutz mimasha asura mitam Avelus, it's also Hishvu hatainus liyom kippurim. V'zeh have bechlal inui kemo b'yom kippurim. De'ein hatam mishum avel, rak have bechlal inuyim. It's not just a din in Avelus, it's a din in inuyim. V'raya, and he brings a raya, and it's actually relevant to this year when Tisha B'Av zenitcha. V'raya the machmas Avelus, mutter lirchotz, panav yoda v'raglo b'tzonon, k'mevur b'shasu b'yiradeya. There are certain washings that an avel need to refrain from, but there is certain minimal washing that an avel need not refrain from. Like lirchotz panav yoda v'raglo b'tzonon, like to wash their face and hands and feet in cold water. But u'b'tisha b'av, asur afilu lahoshet etzbo b'mayim. There's much more chamor when it comes to encountering water on Tisha B'Av than it does in the normal din of Avelus. Ki chutz mitam Avelus satam machmas inui v'chazal hishvu ze liyom kippurim. So we see this duality. We see that there are aspects of Tisha B'Av that are Avelus driven, and some aspects, similar aspects, that are also Tainus driven. Lefichach. This year, be'im chal Tisha B'Av b'Shabbos denidcha achar HaShabbos. The Eshitos Barachayim v'chein Parish Harama b'Shulchan Aruch. The b'Shabbos, what about yesterday? The b'Shabbos noagin davar shebetzina. That private Avelus was to be observed yesterday. Intimate relationships between husband and wife was to be avoided yesterday. Dvarim shebetzina. V'Ashkenazim noagim kain. Umochem b'misha holech litbol b'Shabbos zeh. They're upset about the people who go to do tefillah to be able to engage in that because it's not appropriate, because Avelus, the Shibitzin, even though it's a nidche, and even though it's Shabbos, and we're eating, and we're going to come back to this on Shabbos, but there is a smidgen, there is a hint of Avelus on Shabbos. But that is not a problem on Shabbos. That is pushed off if Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbos. Ela poshet kol shehu machmas tainis kegon achila o shasiya urechitzos yadayim upanav kiven the tainis nidche mikol v'chol kiven the ochlim v'shosin and mutter lirchotz gam kain. Anything that is a function of tainis is in abeyance on Shabbos. So you can wash to that extent. Ach, rechitzas kol aguf osicha, dehu b'tisha b'av machmas avelus gam kain, u'leshita zu dini avelus lo nidche mimakom of anoig b'tzina. So it's an nafkamina this year because yesterday there was a kind of an avelus that was noheg, but the tainus was not noheg, because we need to parse and divide Tisha B'Av into these two parts. Aval machmas ha'inui kamuma kippurim nidche mikol v'chol. Given the achila nidcha kol v'zeh pashit. So tainus, the tainus aspect, the inui aspect, the parallel to Yom Kippur aspect, is not observed yesterday because it's Shabbos. But the avelus, part of the avelus, is observed, namely avelus shebetzina. And so we see here tzvei dinim in Tisha B'Av. It's a Yom Tainus and it's also a Yom Avelus. So of course, whenever you say tzvei dinim, so immediately what comes to mind is the Brisker world, the world of tzvei dinim. Everything is divided into tzvei dinim. So after learning through the Minchas Chinuch, I have a partiality to the Minchas Chinuch because I'm an enikel of the Minchas Chinuch. His name was Babad, and I used to think, well, what are we doing with Sfardim? Like Babad is generally a Sephardi name, and how can I be an enikel? And then it turns out that his name is Babad, but he's a Gezinta Ashkenazi. And when I saw this and I saw Tzvei Dinim, so I started looking in the Brisker world, and sure enough, Reb Velvel al Rambam on the left side just lays it out. I mean, not to be disappointed. So Reb Velvel here, Reb Yitzchak Ze'ev Halevi Soloveitchik, the son of Reb Chaim, in his parish, he has like Reb Chaim al Rambam, so we have the Griz, Agon Reb Yitzchak Ze'ev al Rambam. So he also is operating here with the Gemara Pesachim about Rechitza. That happens to be the point of departure for his analysis. And he quotes a Gemara, and he asks a question, and he grapples with this. V'hanira lomer, I just want to read you a few lines. V'hanira lomer bazeh, the second paragraph on the left side of page 3. Dihine be'emes, b'tisha b'av nemru bo shnei dinim, choda din tainis, v'shenis noagin bei dini avelus. Here it is, black on white. Tzvei dinim on Tisha b'av, tainis and avelus. Uchedetanya b'tainis daf lamid, as we just saw, kol mitzvahs hanoah goes ba'avel, noah goes b'Tisha b'av. That even though the Navi and the Mechaber frame Tisha b'av as a tainis, but the Gemara says that there is a halachic parallel drawn between Tisha b'av and Avelus. Let's go to page 5. So if it's a din in Avelus, if it's a din in both Tisha b'av and in Avelus, so then we have to understand what Avelus is. And Rabbi Soloveitchik very often made the point, repeatedly, that Avelus is a Kiyum Shebelev. It's not just that Tefillah is an Avodah Shebelev, but Avelus is a Kiyum Shebelev, and spent a lot of time in the past discussing that, the mutual exclusivity between Avelus and Simchas Yom Tov. But this year, I want to get at this through the statements of Rabbi Soloveitchik about the role of a eulogy. So what is the function of a hesped? So the Rav was very close. We're on page 5. The Rav was very close to Reb Chaim Heller. Reb Chaim Heller was, he considered him one of his great teachers. Reb Chaim Heller was a prodigy when he was born. He was a Dayan in Lumja. He was a major, major figure. And then he opened up a Beis Midrash in Berlin. So I don't know enough about his life to understand what brought him to Berlin. But maybe what brought him to Berlin is so that he should be in Berlin when Rabbi Soloveitchik showed up in Berlin. When Rabbi Soloveitchik showed up in Berlin in the early 20s, so it's a midbar, he found a haven. He found a haven in the Beis Midrash of Reb Chaim Heller, and they became very close. And the Rav had an enormous amount of respect for him. Whenever he'd walk in, the Rav would get up. Rav Chaim Heller came to America. He taught at Reitz, at Yeshiva Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan. He lived in Washington Heights. And the Rav showed him great respect. And when he was nifter on Erev Pesach in 1960, the Rav was maspid him. And we have the hesped. It's printed in Divrei Hagut V'Haracha. And it's also translated into English by Rabbi Shalom Karmi. This goes back many years ago in 1994. Even though the hesped is one component of Avelus, shonehu bechaluso meno Avelus, and the chalois of a eulogy, this is Rabbi Soloveitchik's language. You have to touch up the chalois of what is a eulogy. You know, we've heard many eulogies, regretfully, and regretfully we'll hear more eulogies. But how do you touch up the eulogy? It's not just enough to hear it or to deliver it, regretfully, but to understand the nature of a eulogy. So he says that the chalois of a eulogy is different from Avelus in two ways. Number one is chovas nihug shivo shloshem chola ala krovim bilvad. That when it comes to nihuge Avelus of Shiv and Shloshim, it's only the immediate relatives, but the obligation for a hesped is further expanded. It includes other people as well. And number two, ha-hesped binigud la-Avelus Shivo Shloshim, mufka mechaluso shel nihug al yedei pu'ula misuyemes. The second thing is it doesn't have a specific act. There's no halacha in the Shulchan Aruch and simin this and seif this as to what a eulogy is. But rather, it has a goal. Ha'pu'lah chitzonit shel hesped v'hartza'at divrei yagon v'kina eino ela b'chinat kli sh'al yado midgashemet hamatara avelut o aninut belev. The purpose of a eulogy is to elicit avelus or aninus shebelev. And however you decide to do it, there are no laws, but it has an instrumental purpose. It's not an act in and of itself, like Shiva or Shloshim and all of the laws associated with Shiva and Shloshim, but it's instrumental to try to elicit something else, and that is a feeling. Hamatbeya avelos o aninu shebelev, in the next paragraph, mitzayen pu'ula kfula, sichlit v'gam rikshit. So what does it mean, avelos? Avelos is sichlit, and it's also rikshit. Sichlit means we have to understand. It is seichel, it is cognitive, it is intellectual, but it's also rikshit. It's also emotional, and it's also feeling. And I make this point every year, and I try to come to it from different texts, that if Tisha B'Av is a Yom Avelos, so the sichlit and rikshit applies to Tisha B'Av as well. And that is to have an understanding, and for that understanding to lead to some kind of an emotional engagement or sensibility. Many years later, on page 6, the Rav delivered a Shloshim Hesped for his Machatenister. The Rebbitzin of Tolna, Mrs. Rivka Twersky. Mrs. Rivka Twersky was the Rav of my teacher, of Professor Isidore Twersky, or Yitzchak Twersky, the Tolna Rebbe, whose his father was the Tolna Rebbe, and his mother was the Tolna Rebbitzin. I studied with him. I came to Boston in 1973, and every day I davened in the Tolna Shtibel to help make a minyan. And until she died, she was there every morning. This was before there was an addition added on to the Tolna Shtibel, but in the olden days, it was in the basement. The Beis Midrash was in the basement, and she never missed not a Shachris, and not a Mincha, not a Ma'ariv. And she was very proud of her son. She always used to talk to me about her son, and her son, who was my professor, always felt uncomfortable when he overheard her telling me how great he was. So she passed away in December of 1976. So this Hesped, a tribute to the Rebbetzin of Tolna that was published later, a year later, was not delivered at the Levaya, but it was delivered at the Shloshim. And Rabbi Soloveitchik presented a great deal in general and also specifically about her. But I draw your attention to the beginning, to how he began. And again, the focus, the point of departure is Hesped. A Hesped, a funeral oration, an ancient biblical institution, pursues a twofold objective. So the Hesped for Reb Chaim Heller we have in Hebrew. He published it, B'chayav. We know about it in Hebrew. Here, he delivered it in English, so this is his original language, as was the Hebrew. The Hesped, an ancient biblical institution, pursues a twofold objective. It seeks, first of all, to make people weep. Agra de Hespeda daluye. The merit of a funeral oration is in raising the voice. So if earlier in the Hesped for Reb Chaim Heller he talks about sichlis and rikshis, so here he talks about rikshis first. Here he talks about the emotional component first. The goal of a Hesped is for people to cry. The halacha did not like to see the dead interred in silent indifference. English was not Rabbi Soloveitchik's first language. It was his fifth language. The halacha did not like to see the dead interred in silent indifference. It wanted to hear the shriek of despair and to see the hot tear washing away human cruelty and toughness. So if Tisha B'Av is a Yom Avelus, so we should be weeping. I find it very hard to weep. It's a failing on my part. I spend a lot of time about Tisha B'Av, an enormous amount of time, and I am not zoche to weep on Tisha B'Av. I wish I was. I remember sitting with Rabbi Soloveitchik all day Tisha B'Av for many years, And when he got to the Asara Haruge Malchus, he would start to bawl. Mamish to bawl. You could hear it. You go online somewhere, and you can hear it. It won't take more than 6 clicks for you to hear Rabbi Soloveitchik bawling about the Asara Haruge Malchus. And I saw it. I saw it with my own eyes, and I was jealous. And I continue to be jealous. It's a failing. So the goal of a hesped is to weep. And that's what Avelus is, to weep. And then at the bottom of the page, the second objective is a different one. At this level, the hesped turns into kilos, eulogy, informative, and instructional. Instead of addressing ourselves as we do at the first level to the heart, we now try to contact the mind. We no longer try to arouse emotions. We seek to stimulate thoughts by telling a story. What kind of a story? Of course, there's only one story to be told, the life story of the deceased. This time, the oration becomes a portrayal of the person whom we bid farewell forever. And then he continues at the bottom of the page, with your permission, I wish to ask the strange question which a maspid must address to the grieving congregation. Who was the Rebbitzin of Tolna? And he goes on for 15 pages trying to explain it. I search, as I think about Tisha B'Av pretty much all year round, for examples of descriptions that move me, that talk about feelings on Tisha B'Av. So I learn a lot about what we're supposed to be thinking about on Tisha B'Av, and I try to share so much of it with you. But I try to be inspired. Every year, I'm constantly looking for maybe something will touch me. And I want to bring to your attention now 3 very, very different sources that I came across in this past year that describe feelings that I thought were meaningful. And they come from very different sources, maybe unusual sources, which in a way makes them perhaps, at least for me, even more resonant, because they're not expected. They're not from some traditional source necessarily that I would turn to for inspiration. So this comes from a novel written by a maskil by the name of Feyerberg, Mordechai Zev Feyerberg, who died at the end of the 19th century, who not all, but most maskilim, was raised in an observant home, and then he rejected his observant home. And he went on to write short stories in Hebrew, and this La'an is one of the longer stories. And in the course of this story, he writes about, from a distance, because he's not in anymore, he's now out. But he writes about, autobiographically, what he saw in his little Beis Midrash when he was growing up, what he saw going on Tisha B'Av. And I think it's important for us to at least know this, that this happened, that this was real. Today, we're so antiseptic and we're so intellectual. And actually, I would say we're so blessed, Baruch Hashem, with all kinds of Shefa Brachos, Baruch Hashem. And so we don't really feel it. We don't feel it. We don't feel like we used to feel 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 1,000 years ago, that our lives are really vulnerable from outside forces. I think we feel it a little bit more as time passes, but we don't begin to feel the intensity that the Jewish people used to feel. But so we should be in touch with and be exposed to experiences that those had before us who did really feel it, and for whom Tisha B'Av really mattered in a very deep and a profound way. So he's in the middle of describing what happened on the night of Tisha B'Av. Atfilah nigmaram, on page 7. Kol ha'kahal ha'gadol yoshev al ha'oretz, ish ner chelev biyado. Everybody's holding a wax candle, so they didn't have electricity then. They all, it was pitch dark, and they each holding a candle. V'sefer Akinos Pesuach Lefanov. Achazin Yoshev Aleven Lefnei Ha'amud v'korei Megillah B'kol Namuch. He reads Eicha with a low voice. Ubenigun Ma'atziv Ad Ma'od, in a very sorrowful voice. Everybody is focused on their books. Anachos, dakos, nishmaos, me regular reg. Every once in a while, you hear a krechts, you hear people krechtzing. So how many people in the shuls that you attended last night, how many people did you hear were mamish krechtzing? They were sighing, sighing. Lo arcic Meno Yosef Aviv, he means his own father, it's autobiographical. Einav shku os besoch sifro, his eyes are sunken into his Kinos book. Achu eno kore, he's looking at the Kinos book and he doesn't read anything. Dima achar dima mitaftefes al hakina hanoshana. One drip, one tear after another is dripping on the old Kinos book. Hamalea kismei chelev udemaot. That's already full of stains of wax from all the past years that the wax dripped. It's full of wax and tears from past years, dripping tears. V'kol hachazan yam gadol shel dimaos. It's one sea of tears. Shel tzaros mitparetz ata migrono shel ha'isha pashut hazeh. Pashut yid just burst forth from his throat, just burst forth from his eyes, tears. Kol mila hu zerem shel machovim v'yisurim. Every word is a stream of pain and suffering. Gal so'er shenifrad mitoch hayam. It's a stormy wave that is separating itself from the sea. V'gal al gal korei tahom al tahom. And then he quotes shticker psukim from Eicha v'achazan olech v'korei. More psukim from Eicha. So he died in 1899, and when he was a kid, this is what he saw. So it wasn't that long ago. It was long ago, but it wasn't that long ago. The power of the experience. From Feierberg to the Munkacher. So the Munkacher, the great Munkacher, Reb Chaim Eliezer Shapiro, the great Munkacher, was 20th century, was one of the greatest gedolim in Hungarian Jewry, very strong personality. So I want to thank Rabbi Yeshua Grunstein. Rabbi Grunstein is head of a leadership program as part of the Or Torah Stone Institute, who sent me this year. He knows that I spend a lot of time teaching on Tisha B'Av, as does he. And he came across this year. It's Nageya this year because Tisha B'Av is a nidcha, so he drew it to my attention, and I thank him. So we need a Gemara in Tainus to understand the Munkacher. On page 8, the Gemara says as follows: Erev Tisha B'Av Shachaliyas B'Shabbos. Well, the Brisa begins the Sanya. It's 7-8 lines from the bottom of Chav Tesamid Beis Masaches Tainus. Tisha B'Av Shachaliyas B'Shabbos, which was this year. V'chein Erev Tisha B'Av Shachaliyas B'Shabbos. So what about Shabbos? Shabbos we saw already before. We saw in the Minchas Chinuch that Avelus Shebetzina is Nayig, but Achilo Shasiya, there are no limitations. Right, those issues, he himself said explicitly, the Tainus aspects of Tisha B'Av are gone when Tisha B'Av Chaliyas B'Shabbos, like this year. Ochel v'shoseh kol tzarko, you can eat and drink whatever you want. Umala al shulchano afilu kiseudas shlomo b'shato. You could eat iber and cup, you can eat whatever you want. Afilu kiseudas shlomo b'shato. What is kiseudas shlomo b'shato? Look at the Mechaber, top of the next page. The Mechaber Paskins in Hilchas Tisha B'Av Simin Tov Kuf Nun Beis Seif Yud Imchal Tisha B'Av Be'echad B'Shabbos. If Tisha B'Av falls Seif Yud, 5 lines, 4 or 5 lines from the bottom, on the top part of page 9. Imchal Tisha B'Av Echad B'Shabbos, if Tisha B'Av falls on a Sunday. Oh, like this year, Shachal B'Shabbos, V'nidche L'achar HaShabbos, Ochel Basar V'Shose Yayin, B'Suda HaMafsekes, even in the Suda HaMafsekes. Right, we have a custom that the Suda HaMafsekes is a muted Suda. My Rabbi, Rabbi Adler, gave a shiur last few being Kabbalah Shabbos Lamayrav yesterday and the previous Shabbos about Suda Mafsekas. He quoted a Trumas Hadeshen that refers to Suda Mafsekas as a Suda Shefela. It's an interesting formulation. It's a low Suda. So we're familiar with a low Suda, right? If on a regular calendar year. So the Suda Mafsekas is before we go to shul. So we're sitting on the floor, and we have a hard egg, and we dip it in ashes. Not so yesterday. Not so yesterday. Yesterday, there's mamish, stuff yourself, gesinnt, soll rinnen von Meul, anything you want. You can have oichel basar, shoise yayin, besuda mafsekes, umale el shulchano, afilu kiseuda shlomo be'es malchuso. So Bishato, the Mechaber interprets be'es malchuso. And the Mishnah Berurah explains that there were times when Shlomo HaMelech was not at the top of the world. He had a complex life. There were ups and downs. So we're not talking here about the time of Shlomo's life when he had difficulty, but we're talking about the time of Shlomo's life when he was at the top of the world, when he was mamish b'shaitay, be'es malchutzay, that's atem gornish gefelt. Could have anything he wants. Shlomo HaMelech could eat anything and have anything. That's the model for us. Yesterday on Shabbos, which is a Nidche or Tisha B'Av Shechal B'Shabbos, which was last year, you can have anything you want. Afilu kiseudas Shlomo v'shato. The Mishnah Berurah says in Sivkot Chaf Gimel, v'asel limnoa mimenu, and actually you're obligated to really have that at the Suda Mafsekes. Afagavta en chiyuv lechol basar b'Shabbos, mikomakom kiven shenimna mishum avel aveirahi. So even though you normally may not have meat on Shabbos, but you can't avoid meat on Shabbos. Shechaliyah is Tisha B'Av Bo, because of Avelus, because that's considered to be, that is inappropriate. V'hinei after Kosav HaMechaber Kesuda Shlomo, Mikomokom, the Mishnah Berurah is not happy with the fullness of this allowance. Mikomokom Yeshev B'da'avo Nefesh, Shelo Yinhag B'Simcha. You know what? We're getting close to Tisha B'Av. You know what I mean? You don't just jump up and down and have a blast. You should be depressed a little bit, and you should not feel simcha. V'lachein lo yeshev b'seudas chaverim. Magen Avraham says you don't invite company to the last evening to Shalashudas. B'sefer b'chor shor cholik al zeh. V'dato demisha rogel b'chol Shabbos lisod seudo zu im chaverov umiyudav. If somebody normally has company, umonea b'shabbezu, havalei ka'avelos farhesia. So you shouldn't deny yourself this if this is something that you normally do. And we already learned that avelos b'farhesia is not appropriate. Avela b'tzina is appropriate. L'kuli amamuter lechol in b'nei beso v'yuchal levarich b'zimun kiven shehu Shabbos. Comes again the Munkatcher and says something fascinating. In order to appreciate the Munkatcher, I want to come back to something that Rabbi Adler said, not yesterday, but the previous Shabbos. He was talking about, I mentioned a moment ago, about Suda Mafsekes. And he asked the question, he quotes Rabbi Soloveitchik a lot, like, what's the chalois of a Suda Mafsekes? What's the inyan of a Suda Mafsekes? So you understand very well that it's the second pre-Tisha B'Av Suda on a regular year. So you have a bigger meal, and then you daven mincha, and then you come home and you have a Suda Mafsekes. What's the character, the halachic character of a Suda Mafsekes? So Rabbi Soloveitchik said, it doesn't make sense that that it has a character of a Seudas Avelos. It sure looks like a Seudas Avelos. We're on the floor, we have a hard egg, it's round, ashes, but it can't be because the Rav said that there's no inyan of Avelos before Tisha B'Av. I mean, I quoted before from the Minchas Chinuch and the Brisker Rav that Tisha B'Av has a chalais, tainus, and avelos, but not before Tisha B'Av. Before Tisha B'Av, there's no tainus, and before Tisha B'Av, there's no avelos. So the Rav said something fascinating. In order to understand what he said, you have to understand the Rabbeinu Yonah on the mitzvah of achila of Erev Yom Kippur. So we know that there's a mitzvah, kol ochel v'shosa b'chi kilu asana chi v'asiri. There's mamish a mitzvah saseh to eat on Erev Yom Kippur. Why is there a mitzvah to eat on Erev Yom Kippur? So Rashi says it's a din in hachana, because we want to be able to observe Yom Kippur properly and to do the work we need to do on Yom Kippur. So to do the work we need to do on Yom Kippur requires us to be strong or not to be totally obsessed by the headache or the pangs of hunger. We have to focus. We have a job to do. So you eat well on Erev Yom Kippur to be able to observe Yom Kippur properly. Like the Ramah says on Erev Tisha B'Av, you should have a strong meal, so you should be able to observe Tisha B'Av properly, a strong meal before Yom Kippur. There's a Shibbolei Aleket that says that it actually is the opposite, that eating before Yom Kippur is a hachana, but he says it makes it worse. I don't know the Hilchas digestion, but the Shibbolei Aleket quotes a shita that says that if you eat a lot and then you cold turkey stop eating, the pangs of hunger are even greater. So it adds to the inui, the chamisha inuyim of Yom Kippur to make the hunger worse is eat a lot before Yom Kippur. But either way, it's a hachana of Yom Kippur. The Rabbeinu Yonah in Sharei Tshuva has 3 reasons why we eat on Erev Yom Kippur, and the middle reason is as follows. The reason why we eat on Erev Yom Kippur is because B'etzem we should be eating on Yom Kippur. B'etzem we should be really eating on Yom Kippur, because Yom Kippur is a Yom Tiv. Ele Moadei Hashem Yikroi Kodesh Asher Tikru Osam B'Moadam. And what follows, Ele Moadei Hashem Yikroi Kodesh Asher Tikru Osam B'Moadam, are Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Shalosh Regalim. It's not only Shalosh Regalim. Yom Kippur is also a Yom Tiv. So al Yom Tiv we should be eating on Yom Kippur to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Simchas Yom Tiv. Simchas Yom Tiv. Elavaz then, I can't eat on Yom Kippur because I'm not allowed to eat on Yom Kippur. So where am I Mekayim the mitzvah of Simchas Yom Tiv Achila for Yom Kippur? I do it before Yom Kippur. So the inyan of Achila on Erev Yom Kippur has nothing to do with hachana, whether it's hachana to make it easier for me or hachana to make it harder for me. It has everything to do with the kiyum of Achila Simchas Yom Tov. Says the Rav, that's what a Suda Mafsekes is. I'm an Avel on Tisha B'Av. In past years, I spent a lot of time, and I don't want to repeat, talking about how there's a transition in the day from the beginning of the day to the later part of the day, and how Rishonim, quoted by the Beis Yosef and many others, talk about how at one point it's Mesa Mutal Lefanov. At one point, the Beis HaMikdash is Mesa Mutal Lefanov, which means that we have Halacha V'Nonein, and then at some point it transitions from Haninas to Avelos. So what happens in a normal case of Avelos Chadasha when there's a transition from Haninas to Avelos? There's something called a Seudas Havra'ah. A Seudas Havra'ah is when the Avel comes home from the cemetery, and the first meal is a Seudas Havra'ah. What's a Seudas Havra'ah? You sit on the floor, you have a hard egg. A Seudas Havra'ah is part of the Nihuge Avelos. So, be'etzem, on Tisha B'Av you should have a Seudas Havra'ah, because it's part of Avelos. Tisha B'Av is a din in Avelos, besides Tainus. So you should have a Seudas Havra'ah. Elavaz then, I can't have a Seudas Havra'ah on Tisha B'Av, because I'm not allowed to eat on Tisha B'Av. So the Suda Mafsekes, said Rabbi Soloveitchik, has a chalois character of a Seudas Havra'ah. It's a pre meal that be'etzem doesn't belong now. It belongs tomorrow. I can't do it tomorrow, so I'm doing it now. just like the Rabbeinu Yoina, Be'etzem I should be eating tomorrow on Yom Kippur, but I can't eat on Yom Kippur. I really should be because it's Simchas Yom Tiv, so I'm going to eat now, but really it's a Geher to Mourning. It's Shaykh to tomorrow. So the Suda Savra, halachically, as a chalais of the Suda Mafsekes, has a chalais of a Suda Savra. With that Akdama, let's look at the Munkatcher. The Munkatcher is very powerful, and the Munkatcher speaks to the emotion of Yom Kippur and to the complex emotion of Yom Kippur. So he has a sefer called Darkei Chaim V'Shalom. Siman Tafrei Shayin, Parish on the Shulchan Aruch, Shechal Tisha B'Av B'Shabbos. This is nihugim of the Munkatcher. When Tisha B'Av fell on Shabbos yesterday, so the Munkatcher used to mamish zetzach havek and have an elongated shalashudis, im seder azmiros va'amiras divrei Torah behis orurus nora ubeli shum heker mi bishar shabbosos. Yesterday was like every other Shabbos. It's Tisha B'Av Ahin, Tisha B'Av Eir, doesn't matter. Shabbos is Shabbos, shalashudis is shalashudis. We're going to go all the way. No difference. And he explains, continue, Tam nachon leminag tzadikim sheyoshvin uma'arichin b'seuda shlishis al pi demuvur b'gemara de b'shabbos shachal b'al Tisha B'Av ose seuda shlishis kish seudas shlomo b'shato. So it's a beferish Gemara, and he refers to shalashudis. You do shalashudis kish seuda shlomo b'shato. Umau inyan l'seuda shlomo b'shato shehisker bozeh. What's the parallel dafka seuda shlomo? Right, that's sort of the paradigm of a gezunta seuda, but there's got to be more. The gam yifle ki l'simcha l'seuda shlomo b'shato mazu ose b'yom Tisha B'Av. Right, we already saw the Mishnah Berurah says Safar Tisha B'Av. It is Tisha B'Av. It happens to be the 9th of Av. So you can't, you have to like control yourself to sit with a little bit of depression. But here, no holds barred. But it's Tisha B'Av. Achu api masha kosav, he quotes from the Kedushas Levi. Masha tzrichem lehischazek b'yamei hamatzarim u'befrat b'yom Tisha B'Av. We have to make an effort throughout the 3 weeks, and especially on Tisha B'Av, gam b'toch habechios v'hamerirus, even in the middle of all of the sadness and the bitterness and the crying, b'bitachon gomor, we have to never lose sight of the fact sheniske b'mehera b'yameinu lebinyan Tzion u'binyan beis hamikdash. We have to recognize and not lose sight of the optimism and lose sight of the faith that we are going to be redeemed. Amnam kishachal b'chol, if Tisha B'Av falls during the week, yefshar laharo zeh habitochon v'simcha b'golui mipnei ha'avelus. I really should be happy on Tisha B'Av, because Tisha B'Av is a day that represents the forthcoming b'mehera b'yameinu redemption. So I should have Simcha on Tisha B'Av. Elavaz then, I can't have Simcha on Tisha B'Av because it's a day of Avelus. It's a day of Tainus and a day of Avelus. Amnam kishachal b'chol, yefshar laharo zeh habitochon v'simcha b'golim mipnei Avelus. Kishachal b'Shabbos, asher ha'avelus asur b'frat b'davar sheb'golui, adarabah. Marin oz habitochon v'simcha sheyesh lanu al yedei zeh sheniske b'mehera b'yameinu lebinyan b'ayis shlishi. Umar bin b'seuda shlishis shehu eis ratzon v'yeshua k'seuda shlomo b'shato ba'im lahodos ba'emuna binyan Tzion beis hamikdash b'mehera b'yameinu. So be'etzem, we should have Simcha on Tisha B'Av. We can't have Simcha on Tisha B'Av. So now we have Simcha on Shabbos Shachal B'Tisha B'Av. So the inyan of the achila on yesterday for the Munkatcher is really an inyan in Tisha B'Av, but I can't do it on a regular Tisha B'Av, so I do it when I can do it on Tisha B'Av, namely when Shabbos falls on Tisha B'Av. V'al-pi ma shekasav Rambam b'Parish HaMishnayos ki Mashiach tzidkenu tzarech liyos mizera David v'hainu mizera Shlomo dafka. Al kein osim ki seuda Shlomo b'shato l'remez al zeh v'shenez chazek b'yom hahu b'simcha Shabbos Kodesh shenizke l'seuda Shlomo b'shato sheyizgala b'karov. The Elta Zayda of Mashiach is Shlomo HaMelech. So because this Seuda is connected to Mashiach and to the Simcha of Bias HaMashiach, B'mhera B'yameinu, so therefore we associate it with Shlomo HaMelech. Yesterday afternoon, I was reading the weekly issue of Lehr House. So you should all know about Lehr House, Lehrhaus. It's put out by a group of young, incredibly gifted and talented Orthodox women and men, incredibly talented. It was started by young people. I'm always inspired by it because it's incredibly successful. And we often wonder, like, what difference can somebody make? Especially a young person, somebody in their 20s. And here a group of young people in their 20s put together something that is really extraordinary. So I'm reading Lehr House, and there's an article, this is yesterday, by somebody by the name of, I don't know who he is, Eli Rubin, who recently published a book on the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And he's reviewing a book that was written by Alan Rosen about sacred calendar days during the Shoah. I wasn't aware of the book, but now I am, and I'm going to look for it. Rosen goes through the calendar, and he shows how Jews during the Shoah held on to the Hebrew dates in the calendar as a way to anchor their sanity. So, you know, one day in the concentration camp is no different than another day, and Tuesday is no different than Shabbos, and Shabbos is no different than Pesach. But there were Jews who held cup. Jews it's just mind-boggling. And it was a way of anchoring themselves in an alternate reality in order to help them survive. So in the course of this review, he makes reference to a Sikha of the Rebbe that I went looking for after Shabbos. And I just want to read to you a piece of it because it's very much relevant to this. It reminded me of the Munkatcher. The Rebbe, this is a Sikha that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave in 1991. You don't have it because I just saw it last night. It's a Sikha he gave in 1991 on Shabbos Chazon, when the year of Tisha B'Av was a Nidche. And the Rebbe spoke in Yiddish, and the Sichas are in Yiddish. The Itzdige Tag, Befrat Kumendik von Shabbos Tisha B'Av Nidche, these coming days, Zainin Yomim Misugolim B'Yoser of Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu. So the Rebbe, as you know, was very focused on Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu. And these days now, Dafka, the days leading up to the 9 days, and Tisha B'Av and Dafka, Tisha B'Av Nidche, is a time that's Mesugel to think about and to the arrival of Mashiach. You know, Chazal tell us, he quotes Yerushalayim, that Mashiach was born on B'yom Shechar Beis HaMikdash, Nolad HaMashiach. Chazal sagen, as in dem Tag von Tisha B'Av, Yom Shachar of Habayis, Yolid Malka Mashiach. That on the day that Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, the Mashiach was born. In the Inyan Chazet Zich Iber Mechadash, B'chol Tisha B'Av. Every year it comes back again. Und Hayayis as B'yom Ha'ladosai, when I mention is Mazlei Gaiver. He quotes from Yerushalayim that on the day somebody's born, there's something specific about it. The Lubavitcher Rebbe was big into birthdays. So the whole issue, the history of birthdays and significance, there's only one birthday in the Torah everybody knows, and it's Paro's birthday, like why birthday matters, but he was into birthdays, and he quotes from Yerushalayim that Mazlei Gaiver. Hastis as B'Tisha B'Av is Misgaber Mazlo Shel Mashiach Tzidkenu, And there is a Yom Mesugul if der Geula ha'amitis v'hashleima. That Tisha B'Av is a day that's primed, that's set aside for particular emphasis on the ultimate redemption. As when Tisha B'Av is Chal b'Shabbos, and I mention it after this year because it's Me'inyan Diyoma, Vi B'Kvi is Shanazu. He was giving this Sicha in a year when Tisha B'Av was Chal b'Shabbos. Is their Tainus, Va'amiras Nachem is Nidche L'Yom Aleph. So, Tainus, we don't fast yesterday. We fast, everything is pushed off. Nachem, everything is pushed off till Sunday. Veren dan nidche nor di inyanim bilti ritzuyim. What is nidche when Tisha B'Av is Chal b'Shabbos? Only the unpleasant things, only the hard things. Bilti ritzuyim, the unwanted aspects of Tisha B'Av are pushed off because it's Shabbos, namely tainus. Der inyan hatzoim und die dine inui va'avelos. That's what's pushed off. Aber die inyanim chiyuvim uritzuyim. But the positive aspects of Tisha B'Av and the desired aspects of Tisha B'Av, was b'yom zeh noilad Mashiach shel Yisrael, werd nit nidche. Afilu nit abgeschwacht, chas v'shalom durch Shabbos. The fact that yesterday Mashiach is born and that there's something unique and special about that, that doesn't get pushed off. Only the unhappy things get pushed off, but the positive things remain. The positive things remain. V'ader Rabba, the inyanim tovim shteyen noch mehr begalayu b'toikef b'yom HaShabbos. It's even stronger. So I was thinking of the Munkatcher, that when Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbos, now you could really do those aspects of Tisha B'Av that you can't do on a normal Tisha B'Av. The Munkatcher says, I really should do it tomorrow, I can't do it tomorrow, I should do it today, but it's really a din tomorrow. It's a din in Tisha B'Av, the simcha. And what he's saying is, when Tisha B'Av is Chal b'Shabbos, it's the complicated parts that get pushed off, the unpleasant parts, the difficult parts, the challenging parts. But the fact that Tisha B'Av is the day when Mashiach was born, and therefore, I want to zushtel. So we have a meal, and we have a Suda Shlomo B'Shato, because it's the birthday of Mashiach, and it's a time to think about, in a more direct way, the perhaps arrival of a Mashiach. From the Munkatcher and the Lubavitcher Rebbe to Ilana Kershan, page 10. So Ilana Kershan is a remarkable young woman who lives in Israel, who wrote a book that I was totally taken with earlier this year, many months ago, called If All the Seas Were Ink. And she plots the unfolding of her own personal life, and in her case, the complexities of her own personal life, around the rhythm of the Daf Yomi that she learns Keseder every single day. And she sees in the Gemaras that she's learning in the Daf echoes and resonances for what's going on in her own personal life. And I found the book extremely moving and extremely worthwhile. It gave me a lot to think about. And in the section of Yuma, towards the beginning of the book, she talks about Tisha B'Av. Because you understand, in Yuma, Daf Tesamid Beis, the Gemara wants to know, so why is the Beis HaMikdash Charav? I understand why the first Beis HaMikdash was Charav, because the three Averish, Shvichas Dam and Gilei Rais and Avodah Zarah. But why in the second Beis HaMikdash? Because Mipnei Sinas Chinam, famous Gemara, Malamit, Sheshkula, Sinas Chinam, Ke, Avodah Zarah, Gilei Rais and Shvichas Dam. One evening, I sat learning Daf Yomi on my Romeo and Juliet balcony. For some reason, maybe, I don't know, maybe L'kayim Ma Shenemar Torah Umada, not sure exactly why, but this really resonated with me. One evening, as I sat learning Daf Yomi on my Romeo and Juliet balcony, I was suddenly transported to fair Verona, where I laid my scene. I imagined Juliet leaning her cheek against her gloved hand as Romeo gazes up at her under the cover of darkness. Juliet sighs, ah me. Romeo hangs on to her every sound and gesture. She speaks, so speak again, bright angel, wooing her from below in language reminiscent of the Song of Songs, which Shakespeare seems occasionally to invoke. I imagine the balcony as the site of many subsequent late-night trysts, as it is the one place where the lovers can speak freely to one another without risking the wrath of the Montague and Capulet clans. Surely Juliet longs each day for night to come so she can go to her balcony to speak to Romeo. And then I imagine, this next paragraph really, it touched me. I had a whole new perspective on the Churban. And then I imagine that one day Juliet comes home to find that her parents have boarded up her balcony. Her window is covered with wooden planks fixed crudely to the wall, and pieces of the railing hacked at with axes and spades lie strewn on the street below. Pasikanecha, her gates have sunk into the ground. He has smashed her bars to bits. Juliet is utterly distraught. How will she see Romeo that evening? How will she communicate with her lover? Pasikanecha. Re'eh Hashem, see, O Lord, the distress I'm in. My heart is in anguish. It is not only her balcony that she has lost, but the whole elaborate system of semaphores and scheduling that she and her lover had constructed to ensure that they see each other regularly. It's not just a din in the balcony, it's a din in the relationship. Like, where's the relationship now going to be able to unfold? Pasikanecha, bitterly she weeps in the night, her cheeks wet with tears. There is none to comfort her of all her friends. The rabbis in mourning the temple were not just mourning a physical edifice, but an entire system of connecting with God, one that involved daily sacrifice, fragrant incense, elaborate vestments, golden trumpets, etc. So I was struck by this out of left field, for me, vision to understand what the impact of the Churban Beis HaMikdash must have had. Because it's true, it's not just a building. We are going to say in the Kines, we say every year that this was a place where there was a meeting ground between Klal Yisrael, Knesset Yisrael, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is where Rabbi Soloveitchik has a favorite word, the rendezvous. The rendezvous between the Jewish people and God unfolded in this place. So now it's gone. So now you come to the spot and it's smashed and hacked and destroyed. It's not a physical destruction only. It's much more than that. It's much deeper than that. It's where are the lovers going to meet? Where they're going to connect to one another? It's gone. It's over. The notion of the immediacy of the Churban, and I'm grasping to try to feel that, is quoted or is alluded to in a number of Gemaras. So this year I had occasion to learn a sefer called Ma'ayan HaMoed. It's by Shalom Meir ben Mordechai HaKohen Valach, Vav Lamed Chaf, B'nai Brak Tafshin Samach Vav. It's about Moadei Hashanah, and this particular volume is about Bein HaMetzarim, Beis HaMikdash, Churban, Galus U'Geula. So in this sefer, he draws our attention to page 11, to Gemara and Brachas. And what struck me and what influenced me was the immediacy. I'm trying to feel the immediacy. So the Gemara in Brachas says the following. I copied here on page 11 from the top of Mem Beis Amid Beis, but I need to begin one line on Mem Beis Amid Aleph. So I'm going to read it to you. The Gemara here is talking about Zimun. The Gemara here is talking about benching together. And the Gemara says, it's actually a Mishnah. The Mishnah says on Mem Beis Amid Aleph, and this is the part of the Mishnah that the Gemara picks up, so I want to read the Mishnah to you. Hayu Yoshvin, kol echad mevarech la'atzmo. Heisebu, echad mevarech l'kulan. So the Mishnah posits an afkamina between if people are sitting, Rashi, below Heseibos mitos, shemotin al tzedeim smolis al hamita, va'ochlin v'shosen beheseba. So, as we all know from Pesach, in the olden days, they used to eat lying down beheseba. So if it's yoshvin, which means sitting up erect, straight, without heseba, so that's perceived of as being more of a temporary, mishbreitzach nicht, mitzalastzach nicht, but you're just sitting. Apparently, you don't have time to shbreitzach yourself out. So there, everybody has to kolechem mevarech la'atzmo. Says Rashi, de'ein keva su'uda below heseba. That's not a real kviya su'uda. It's not a whole chabura eating together, because it's chap lap. Everybody's just sitting up, grab and go, and you're ready to go. So there, kolechad mevarech la'atzma. But hesebo, says the Mishnah, but if you take the time, zachais tzishpreiten, if you're going to eat the heseba, that's already called a kviya suda. If it's called a kviya suda, echad mevarech l'kula. Says the Gemara on page 11. Hayu Yoshvin, the fourth wide line. Hayu Yoshvin, kolechad mevarech la'atzma. If it's only yeshiva, then everybody benches individually. But if it's beheseba, everybody benches together. In fact, the Gemara hesebu in lo hesebu lo. Are you trying to tell me that it's only with heseba veraminu? Asara shahayu holchim bederech. If 10 people are walking on a way, afal pisha kulam ochlem mikikar echad. God bless you. Afal pisha kulam ochlem mikikar echad kol echad ve'echad mevarech la'atzmo. Even if they're all eating from the same piece of bread, if 10 people are on a way, then they all bench individually. Yashvu le'echol, but if they sit, afal pisha kol echad ve'echad ochel mikikro echad mevarech l'kulam. Even if each one eats their own piece of bread, still echad mevarech l'kulam. So the Gemara asks, here we see, katani yashvu afal pisha lo hesebu. All you have to do is yashvu, and it's already considered to be a context in which one person could bench for everybody else. But you just told me in the Mishnah that yashvu alone is not enough. You have to have hesebu. And for the Gemara, Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, kagon da amre nezel v'necho lachma beduch pelan. The difference is let's say it's yashvu, but if before yashvu you make an announcement, let's all go eat over there in a particular place, so that's considered enough to be a kviya suda, even if there's no heseba. Azozak the Gemara. Now comes to the part that's relevant to us. Kinach nafshe de Rav. Ozlu Talmid of Basrei. When Rav died, his Talmidim followed him. Kihadre, they followed him to bury him. They walked behind the Aron to the Kvura. Kihadre, on the way back, Amre, Necho, Nezel v'Necho Lachma Anahar Danak. So there's a whole chabura of Talmidim, and they say, you know what, let's pause now before we get back to the Beis Midrash. We're going to pause and we're going to eat something on Nahar Danak. Basa de Karche, after they finished eating, they broke bread. Yasve v'kama boilhu, and they sat and they wondered, they were asking a question. Hey sebu dafka tenan aval yashvu lo. Odilma even the amre nezel v'nechel rifta beduchta pelanisa ki hasebu dami. So how do we paskin? Do we accept this answer of the Gemara? Is it only a din in Eseba? From the Mishnah L'chayr, it's only a din in Eseba. If you don't do Eseba, then it's not Echad Mevarech L'Kulan. According to the way we interpreted the Brisa, there's another option, and that is if you make an announcement that we're going to all eat here, that's enough even without Eseba. So what should we do? We made the announcement, but we were Yoshvin. So what should we do? L'hava biyadaya, they didn't know. Their mamish didn't know what to do. Here's the Gemara. Kam Rav Ada bar Rava, ahader kar'e le'achore. Rav Ada bar Rava gets up, he turns around his cloak to the other side. V'kara kriya achrina, and he taught kriya again. He taught kriya the first time when his Rebby was buried. He taught kriya for his Rebby. When somebody's Rebby dies, Rebby moving, tear kriya. He taught kriya. So now he's walking back with the torn kriya coat. So what does he do? He turns it upside down, and he finds a piece, and he tears kriya again. Omar noch nafshe derav, ubirchas mazono lo gamrinan. Our Rebbe died, and we don't know anything. We don't even know how to bench. Even birchas hamazon we didn't learn. And the Rebbe died. Ada asahahu saba rama lahu masnisan. Abraisa v'shani lahu kiven da'amri nezel v'necha lachma b'duch pelon ke'asebu dameh. Until an old Alta Yid came along, paskin the shaila for them. Why did he tear kriya? Why did Ravada Barava tear kriya? He taught 2 kriyas. The first kriya was when his Rebbe died. That's done. His Rebbe died, his Rebbe was buried. Maybe he did it when he died, maybe he did it when the Rebbe is buried. They're now back from the Levaya, they're back from the Kvura. Tears kriya again for now, because now I'm missing my Rebbe. I'm not tearing kriya because my Rebbe died. I'm tearing kriya because I don't have a Rebbe. I'm tearing kriya for the present. I'm not tearing kriya for the past. Rashi, Ahadar kare la'achore, kera shekora behespid rabo, hichzir hachalok la'achorov. He tore kriya the first time during the hespid, and now he turns it upside down, inside out. Umasha la'achor lifnim, that which was in the back is now in the front. Kedei lekroa kera acher laharos evel achshav kiyom hamisa. There's an evel achshav. Al shahayu tzrichem lahora'ah ve'en yodim lahoros. So I was thinking a lot about this Gemara. What's the Avelis on Tisha B'Av? What's the Avelis on Tisha B'Av? So the Avelis on Tisha B'Av, I used to think, was because the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. But more and more, I think it's not that. That's the first Kriya. The Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, but there's another Kriya. The Kriya is that now we don't have a Beis HaMikdash. We don't tear Kriya for the past. We tear Kriya for the present. You know, it happened, 2,000 years ago almost. Us Gate Miran. It's not just, we're going to come back to this, Kol Dor Shelo Nivne Beis HaMikdash B'Yamav Kilu Nechrav B'Yamav. Maybe that's what the pshat is. But I'm crying now because now I don't have it. This resonated with me because in my personal life now I'm in the middle of Avelis for my mother, Aleh Shalom. I'm in the middle of the first year of Avelis. Not in the middle, almost at the end. And I say Kaddish and I think about her all the time. And I really feel a sense of Avelis. So I ask myself, what am I mourning? I don't know, some of you have lost parents, maybe you've had the same experience. So I used to think I'm mourning because my mother died. But I don't think that's true. I think I'm mourning because today I don't have a mother. I think that's really why I'm mourning. I think I'm mourning because today I can't pick up the phone and say, Mommy, how are you? Not because in the past, 10 months ago, she died. This really sharpened it to me, this Gemara. There's one mourning, there's one Kriya, B'shas Maisa. You mourn for the death. There's another ongoing daily Kriya. I'm mourning because today I couldn't pick up the phone. It's now. It's not yesterday, and it's not last week, and it's not 10 months ago. Look at another Gemara. Gemara Masechah Sanhedrin. Samach Ches Amud Aleph. The Gemara here is talking about the relationship between Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim. So Rabbi Eliezer, not even to make a long story short, but to make a long story non-existent, got into trouble, and there was all kinds of issues. And here at this point in the Gemara, they're asking him Shilas in Hilchas Tumah V'Tara. And he's paskening Shilas in Hilchas Tumah V'Tara. And then they ask him a particular Shaila, and then 8, 9 lines from the bottom, V'yatza nishmaso b'tahara, and he dies. After he paskened the Shaila, so Rabbi Eliezer dies. Amad Rebbe Yehoshua, beginning of the line, Yehoshua, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 lines from the bottom. Sanhedrin Samach Ches Amud Aleph. Amad Rebbe Yehoshua Ragla va'amar, Hutar aneder, Hutar aneder. So Rashi says, Sheberchuhu, that's a Lashon Nekiyah, it's a euphemism. You know, now that Rabbi Eliezer died, so the nidui, the vow of excommunication, is now off the table. Now we're all okay. We're good now. L'matzoi Shabbos, so after the Levaya, after the Levaya died on Shabbos, the Levaya is Matzoi Shabbos, the Matzoi Shabbos, Pagaba Rabbi Akiva. Min Kisrei Lelud. So the funeral procession is going from Kisrei to Lud, and Rabbi Akiva encounters the funeral procession. Hayamaka bivsaro achadamo shoses la'aretz. Rabbi Akiva banged his flesh until his blood was dripping onto the ground. Pasach olav bishura, and he started to say, Rashi says, look at Rashi, ben kisri lelud, shahya nosen es mitaso mi kisri lelud, pasach alav b'shura, shahya osen shura, sevivo samita lahespid. So we do that, part of the nehuge of Avelos at a Levaya, when the Levaya is over, so we make a shura, we make a line facing one another, leading away from the side of the grave, and the Avelim, the immediate Avelim walk in, and we say, Amakim Menachem Eschem. So they made the shura, not just to be Menachem the Avelim at the end of the Levaya, but the Hesped was done in the form when people were B'shura. So in his Hesped, in Rabbi Akiva's Hesped for Rabbi Eliezer, Pasach Alav B'shura v'amar, Avi, Rechev Yisraelu Paroshav. It's a very famous pasuk. He cries out, his father, the chariot of Israel, my father, my teacher, my Rebby. Harbe ma'os yeshli. Ve'enli shulchani lahartzosan. I have a lot of money, but I have nobody to change the money. What does that mean? Rashi. Harbe ma'os yeshli lahachlif. I have money to change. Ve'enli shulchani lahartzosan. Klomar. Harbe she'elos yeshli lishol. Ve'en lemi lishol. And I don't know who to ask. My Rebbe's gone. And so he is Makeh Bisaro Ad Shedomo Shoses La'aretz. Fractosis, you're not allowed to do that. Fractosis is the Parish pasuk in Vayikra Yutes. The pasuk says Sarat LaNefesh, that we can't do what Amorim do. The pasuk says in Vayikra Yutes pasuk Chavches V'Seret LaNefesh Lo sitnu bivsarchem. The seret lenefesh, to make a scratch in your flesh, you're not allowed to do that. Rashi says in Parshas Kedoshim, Kain darkan shelamorim liyos misortin bibsaram kishemes lahemes. This is chukasakom. So you're not allowed to scratch your body when somebody dies. That's what the Amorim do. Frekt Taisvis mishum seret lenefesh leka, the mishum Torah Avid. Why is he doing it? He's not doing it because it's avelos al hameis. He's doing it because it's avelos for Torah. You understand the distinction? There's a distinction between I'm mourning for the person who died, so I'm not allowed to mourn this way, but that's not what precipitates the Makeh b'b'sara shadam. It's something else that precipitates. It's the absence. I'm not mourning that he died. I'm mourning that right now I don't have a Torah teacher. I'm mourning for the Torah that I don't have. Look at the next page. Look at page 12. First, the Gemara in Yavamas, on Daf Yud Gimel. The Gemara in Yavamas, Yud Gimel Amid Beis. The Gemara quotes this halacha. The Amar Rachmana, 7-8 lines from the bottom, Lo sasu chabura al meis. That you're not allowed to do a chabura. You're not allowed to. A seret lanefesh is an issa d'oraisa. Zok Taisvis Yavamis Yud Gimel Amid Beis Dibra Maschel the Amar Rachmana. What do you mean you're not allowed to do a chabura al meis? V'hadar minim b'sof perek daled misos. What about our Gemara? Gabi Rabbi Akiva shoya maka atzma Rabbi Eliezer shenifter at shoya damo shoses la'aretz. So the Gemara, so Tosfos gives two answers. Number one, Va'imer Rabbeinu Yitzchak, the ikala meimer the derech srita aser rachmana dafka. Only there's a particular way how to do it, which the Amorim do. But to do what Rabbi Akiva did was not that particular act, and therefore it's permitted. Inami second answer of Tosfos in Yevamis is the same answer of Tosfos in Sanhedrin. A Torah haya mitzdayer. Kedamrin on hasam harbe mos yeshli ve'ein shulchani lahachlif. It's not, he's crying for the Torah. He's crying for the now, he's not crying for the then. He's crying for the now. Shulchan Aruch Paskins at the top of page 12, in Yeridea, Hilchos Ksubas Ka Kricha Kuf Pei Sev Zayin, Yesh Misha Omer Dafka Srita, Avalamaka Biyado Al Basoro, Achadamo Shoses Mutter. That's the first answer of Tosfos. And the Shach, in Sivkot Niyud, V'yesh Misha Oser Ba'oser Kein Al Hameis. Avalamoser Kein Bishvil Torah, Klomar Adam Godel Shemeis Umitztaer Al HaTorah, that is Mutter. And so there's a difference between mourning for the past and mourning for the present. And what I'm trying to feel and to convey is that maybe that's really what Tisha B'Av is all about. Tisha B'Av is mourning for the present. It's mourning for the lack of a Beis HaMikdash now. Not that it happened a long time ago, but that it happened now. It happened right now. And the way I know it happened right now is because there's so much terrible things going on in the world. It's getting more and more complicated. I thought that when I'm older, it would be a little bit easier for me. I mamish thought that when I'm an old man or an older man, I've seen everything already. I've been around the block. So like it would be calmer for me. But it's not. It's not calmer for me. My life is more complicated. It's more. I'm less calm. It is a mess. The world is a mess. America's a mess. The world is a mess. Israel is never facing so many challenges. We don't even know how many terrorist attempts were thwarted. We only know Nebuch when they're not thwarted, and that's too many. It's just very complicated. And I believe it's directly at the doorstep of a non-Beis HaMikdash. It's the fact that there is no Beis HaMikdash. For me, the Beis HaMikdash represents Liisa Goyel Goychere, V'Gazev Keves. It represents an idyllic world. The Rambam says at the end of Hilchos Malachim, we don't have to spend any time or energy on fighting. We could devote all of our energies to intellectual pursuits, to spirituality, and every day, it's a mess. And that's Rabbi Barava, who turned his cloak around and taught Kriya a second time. That's where Rabbi Akiva was Sarat B'Sarai, not Sarat B'Sarai. He was not allowed to Sarat, but he yanked at himself. Because of now, the Torah is God, not because of a historical event. Let's go to page 14. So I think 7 years ago, cited this Beis Yosef. I make mamish every effort to not repeat. But the reason why I'm repeating this from 7 years ago is because I have a new knetch on this Beis Yosef. So the Beis Yosef says in Hilchos Birchas Hamazon on page 14, if you heard it from me, you'll remember it because it's so striking. Or maybe you know it on your own. Kosav Rokeach, page 14, Hilchos Birchas Hamazon, Siman Kuf Pei, says the Beis Yosef. I didn't write Beis Yud on the top left, or I did, I don't remember. Beis Yosef says, Kosav Rokeach b'Siman Shin Lamed Beis, B'chasin Saken B'Shas Birchas Hamazon, Al Shem Lo Sonif Aleim Barzel. So when you're benching, you have to cover the knife. So there's a knife on the table, because you need the knife to cut the brisket. But when you're benching, you cover the knife. Because Pasuk says, Lo sonif aleim barzel. So the Mechilta says, Eino din sheyonif hamekatzer al hamarich. So you can't have barzel, you can't have iron on the table, so a knife is made out of iron. Why not? Because a knife is mekatzer life, and a table is marich life. You eat, you get sustenance, you get strong, you're healthy. So eino din, you shouldn't put something that destroys life on the table, because shulchan doime lemizbeach, especially during benching. Because of vod b'shibole aleket mitnei achaver Rebby simcha, shamati tam acher. And this is what I cited for you a number of years ago. Pam achas haya echad mevarach birchas hamazon. Once there was a guy who was benching. Because she'egia lebirchas bana Yerushalayim, v'nizkar churban abayis, lokach hasakin v'tako bebitno. I mean, this is mamish unbelievable. It's mamish unbelievable. He got so distraught when in benching, he got to Bonei Yerushalayim, and he realized, oh my God, there is no Beis HaMikdash. He got so distraught, he took the knife on the table and he stabbed himself. Valkein nagu l'salko b'shas bracha. So you know what? You don't want it to happen again. So you make sure the knife is not in striking range of you when you're benching. I mean, this is unbelievable. Some guy got so, I don't know. It never occurred to me to stab myself when I was benching. I don't know, take a pole. One guy got so tzehitzt, but just think about this guy. There is a guy on the face of this earth once who was so distraught that he stabbed himself. He injured himself. And because of that, no knife on a table. Why? Because Rabbeinu Simcha and the Shibbolei Alekan and the Beis Yosef don't think that this guy was like one massive, colossal weirdo, one major nut job, like something's wrong with him. It's like a one-time thing. No, it's not a one-time thing. You know what? It can happen again. You too can be so distraught. So we're going to be misaken l'doirid doiris, a minhag. We're going to say no knife visible on the table. You got to cover the knife because it may happen again. The fact that it happened once, mela, that's not a chiddush to me that it happened once, although it's pretty amazing. For me, the bigger chiddush is, oh my God, it may happen again. It may happen with somebody else. Now, why is this so powerful? Because this year, I realized the Gemara Maseches Yuma. Turn to the next page, page 15. There's another knifing. I remembered another knifing in Chazal. The Gemara says in Yuma Daf Chaf Gimel Omer Aleph, Tana Rabbanan. It's the first of the middle lines, like 2/3 of the way down. Ma'aseh b'shnei kohanim shehayu shneihen shavin v'ratzin va'olim b'keves. So there was a story of two kohanim. So you understand that kohanim want to be minister in the Beis HaMikdash, and it's a big schus to minister in the Beis HaMikdash, and whoever could do more Avid in the Beis HaMikdash is a bigger schus than whoever does less Avid in the Beis HaMikdash. So the kohanim are jockeying to try to make sure that they get the opportunity, that they have an extra epis, an extra opportunity, so there's an extra schar, there's an extra schus. So the story is told about two kohanim, and they're running up the keves, they're running up the ramp. And they're both neck and neck, running up the ramp. It's a long ramp, they're running up the ramp. Kodam echad mehem lasoch arba amos shel chavero. So one of them got close to the other, or some I saw interpret it, one of them got within the 4 amos of the Mizbeach before the other one did. So clearly one of them now is, till now they were shoving, but one guy had like a spurt and he shot ahead, he's now ahead of the other one. Notal sakin v'toka lo belibo. So he killed him. He took a knife, and he's holding a knife while he's running. I don't know the hechetimtza exactly. And he stabbed him in his heart. Could you imagine? In the Beis HaMikdash, it's a holy place. and they're running to do a mitzvah. But you beat me out? No way. He kills him right there. It's a Beferish Gemara. Notal sakim v'taka balibya. Amar Reb Tzadok al malos ha'ulam. I mean, this is shockingly gripping and major effect on whoever's there. Imagine the scene. Amar Reb Tzadok al malos ha'ulam v'amar achenu b'nei Yisrael. Shimu, listen to me. Oh, you Jewish people, listen to me. Harehu Omer. There's a pasuk in Devarim that's known as the Parsha of Egla Arufa. Ki yimatze cholal ba'adama. V'yatzu z'keinecha v'shavtecha. So if you find a cholal and somebody is killed and you don't know who killed, then you have to measure to the closest city, and the elders of the closest city have to expiate the sin, have to make a declaration, have to bring a korban. But anu al mila havi egla arufa. Al ha'ir or al ha'azaros. Rashi, al mila havi, 8 lines from the bottom of Rashi. Mishel mi tilokach min hayoshvin bi'ir o min ha'kohanim shomrei azara. Like, who's responsible for this? The inhabitants of Jerusalem or the Kohanim who are here in the Azara? Go'u kol ha'am bibchi. Everybody starts crying. Everybody starts crying. So Rashi, Tosfos already points out, Dibra maschal v'Yerushalayim eina mevia egla rufa, which is part of the discussion in the context here in the Gemara, that clearly this is not literal. The parsha of egla rufa is actually irrelevant here. Because in the case of Egla Rufa, it's only because you don't know who killed. Here you know exactly who killed. So the whole point, look at Tosfos. The belav hachi tzarech l'shanuye, Tosfos asks a question and he says, you can't take this really literally, because the belav hachi tzarech, first word in the line l'shanuye, kadei l'harbos bebechia. The whole point here is to elicit crying. The haloi shayach Egla Rufa elohecha dolono damihiko. So the Gemara wants to bring this as an example for a particular halacha, which is not now to go into, that we're going to use this as an example for a particular halacha. And the Gemara says, no, you can't bring it as a proof. Towards the end of the first of the widest line, Savar akroi ba'almahu. This is considered random. This is a random occurrence. You can't prove anything from this story. This is a one-time story. It's a one-time story. One guy, one kayin slaughters another kayin. They're running up the... You can't prove anything from this. This happened once. This is done. It's over. It is totally sui generis. It is totally irrelevant to anything. It is totally non-dispositive. It's just an oddball case. So I'm thinking to myself, this is an oddball case. But the case where the guy stabbed himself in benching, that's not an oddball case. This makes sense, actually. I mean, at some weird level, they're in competition with one another. So competition is like a thing. You're competing. So this guy was like overdid he overdid the competition. But it's a natural impulse. So you tell me, no, it's a weird. Self-preservation is also a natural impulse. People don't want to go around and kill themselves. I mean, that self-preservation is a natural impulse, like competition is maybe even more of a natural impulse than competition. So when it comes to competition, that's never going to happen. Never, forget it. You can't learn anything from this. The Gemara calls it akroi ba'almahu. But when it comes to the Rabbeinu Simcha, you know what? It may happen again. And I just take away from this, and it just makes me feel worse. Personally, I am so far from even imagining such a thing. But I think it's important to us to at least try to imagine such a thing. That not only did he do it, but we're worried that somebody else might do it. And that's not considered to be akroi ba'alma. And that enters into the halachic practice. That's now a thing in Judaism. It's a thing. It's a Beis Yosef. It's a Shibbolei Aleket. You take the knife off the table. You take the knife off the table. Or you cover it. Look at the bottom of page 14. The Mechaber Paskins Lahalacha. This is not some favor from the Shibbolei Aleket. The bottom of page 14, the Mechaber says, V'noagim lechasos hasakin b'shas birchas hamozon. That's it. There's a whole side issue that I did do last time, and that is Shabbos and Yom Tov is different. Why is it different? Does it depend on the two reasons? But flat out, v'noagim lechasos, it's in the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch is like the code of Jewish law. It's like Asher mipiv anu chayim, and it's in there. And that's not an oddball. That's not akroi ba'alma. So this year, it struck me the contrast. I knew this Beis Yosef, but I didn't put it together with this Gemara. And it just heightens the sharpness of it. Let us now go to page 26. The Gemara in Tainas Lamed Amid Beis, the final cluster of sources. Rabbi Akiva Omer, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, a couple of lines down, beginning of the line, Kol ochel v'shosa b'Tisha B'Av, Ki'ilu ochel v'shosa b'Yom Kippurim. I mean, here it is. Now we have much more of an appreciation of this Gemara. You know, when you learn the Gemara, you think, oh my God, it's as bad as eating on Yom Kippur. But it's more than that. It's because there is this parallel. There is this conceptual connection. It's not just like a mashal, but it's more than that. Next, Rabbi Kiva Omer Kolosam Alacha B'Tisha B'Av Eino Rosen and Brach Liolam. Chachamim Omrim Kolosam Alacha B'Tisha B'Av Eino Misabel Al Yerushalayim Eino Roa B'Simchasa. Shenemar Simchu Es Yerushalayim V'Gilu Ba Kol Ohaveh Asisu Ita Masos Kol HaMisabel Moleha Mikan Amru Kol HaMisabel Al Yerushalayim Zoche V'Roa B'Simchasa U'She'eino Misabel Al Yerushalayim Eino Roa B'Simchas. Page 27. So I want to thank Manny Adler, who every week sends me, and I'm sure he sends many others, a Chassidische Torah journal or a couple of pages called Olam L'Trufa. And 2 years ago, in Tavshin Ayin Zayin, he sent me the Olam L'Trufa that he sent me resonated with me, and that's the source of what it is that I want to share with you. We're now on page 27. So it's a Chsam Sofer. The two Chsam Sofers on this Gemara. Two Chsam Sofers on this Gemara. Yosef gets into trouble with his brothers. And Yaakov sends him out to see what's going on with them. And they use that as an opportunity to do away with him. So first they wanted to kill him. Again, just stop for a second. They wanted to mamish kill him. Okay, so they're jealous of him. He has weird dreams. They're offended that they're bowing down to him in the dream. Okay, so you know what? The next time they have a party, they're not going to invite him to the party because he's not a nice guy. They don't like him. But their mamish were going to kill him. Mamish kill him. K-I-L-L him. But then comes again a whole discussion. Mabetza kinarag asachinu v'chisinu esdama l'chuvenim karenu liyishmaelim. So they sell him to the Ishmaelim, but they have to figure out a way how to tell Tati that he isn't coming back. So they have his cloak, and they dip it into blood, and they go back. And, oh my God, Yaakov says, oh my God. Vayakira vayomer, top of page 27, Ksonas b'ni chayara achalasu. You notice they don't tell him that. They just show him the cloak. They're not lying. They're not saying, we saw a wild animal kill him, but he draws his own conclusion, a very logical conclusion, Torah Yosef. Vayikra Yaakov Simlosov, Vayasem sak b'mosana, vayisabel al beno yamim rabim, vayakumu kol banav chol benosav lenachmo, vayimoen leisnachem. He refuses to accept mourning. Says the Chassam Sofer in Toras Moshe Ma'adura Tlisoi on this pasuk, on the previous pasuk, bottom right, page 27. Yom Yehuda ma'betza kinarag esachinu v'chisinu esdamo. V'nira the Isa Sof Maseches Tainis Daf Lamed Amid Beis. Kol hamisabel al Yerushalayim zoche v'roa b'simchasa. If you're misabel on Yerushalayim, the Gemara we just saw, you will merit the simcha of Yerushalayim. V'yesh lefarish ha-Gemara pi masha kosav Rashi b'pasuk v'yimoen lehisnachem. Let's look back at Rashi on the pasuk that I just read to you in Lamed Zayin Lamed Hey. V'yakumu kol banav v'chol benosav lenachmo v'yimoen lehisnachem. Says Rashi, ein adam mekabel tanchumim al hachai v'savur shemes. That when somebody passes away, dies mamish, at some point there is such a thing called tanchumim, because they're not coming back. It's final. And when it's final, it's hard and hurtful, but at some point you come to terms with the finality and you begin to have a sense of nechama. But you're not mekabel tanchumim al hachai v'savar shemes. If you think they died, and you think it's final, but it's not, then somehow you have a sixth sense. I'm not sure exactly what this is. If they really mamish didn't die, you're really not going to have tanchumim, even if you think that they died. Azoy zok Rashi. It's Midrash and Parish. Rabbi, it's a Gemara and Pesachim. Ein adam mekabel tanchumim al hachai, who he thinks is mace. She'al hameis nigzera gezera sheyishtakach min halev v'lo al hachai. The Rabbi Shalom makes it possible for the surviving relative to feel a sense of tanchumim only if they're dead, al hameis, but not if they're alive. Back to the Chassam Sofer. What does it mean? Kol hamisabel al Yerushalayim zoche v'roa b'simchasa v'yesh lefarish ha-Gemara al pi ma shekosav Rashi b'pasuk v'yimoen lehisnachem mikan de'ein mekabelin tanchumim al hachai. Hinei im lo yihiyeh tikva sheyerushalayim tiboneh lama misabelin od. If you thought that Yerushalayim is dead and gone and over and is never going to be rebuilt, then at some point you would come to terms with it and you would no longer continue to mourn. The only reason why you continue to mourn is because it's not dead, it's still chai, because there is this hope that you're going to see it again. When somebody passes away, the only way you can have tanchumin is if you know it's over. But if you think it might not be over, or if in fact it's not going to be over, you continue to mourn. There is no nechama. Why are we misabel al Yerushalayim in 2019? It was done. It's over. The Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. Not once, but twice. It's finished. It's only because it's still alive for us. It's only because we know that we can reconnect to it. Im lo yihiyeh tikva sheyerushalayim tibane lama misablin od v'lo nisnachem od zeh shanim rabos. All these years we should have already had nechama. Ella, what's the reason? The Yerushalayim u Beis HaMikdash banu l'mayla v'rak me'itonu ne'evad v'yesh tikva v'asi shaper kol hamisabel al Yerushalayim v'lama misablim. Why is there avelus? Elavada sheniske v'nira bibinyana kol hamisabel al Yerushalayim zoche v'roa bibinyana. He interprets The only reason why we're misabel al Yerushalayim is because we believe that we will be zoche v'roa b'binyana. Look at the Chassam Sofer in Bava Basra, Daf Tzadi Samach Hamid Beis. The Gemara there is talking about Zecher L'Churban. That's the Gemara about putting ashes on the head of a chassan. The Gemara talks about various nihugei avelos Zecher L'Churban after the destruction. This is not mourning the destruction, but remembering the destruction. He quotes from Rav Moshe al Mosnino. This is the Chassam Sofer in his Chidushim on Bava Basra. Ki sisu ita masos b'loshon de b'shas ha'ibul hu sha'as ha'simcha. To come back to a point that I made earlier, that the Avelos and the Simcha are intertwined. That was the Munkacher, that Tisha B'Av is the Yom Simcha. I just can't do it, so I have to do it by Achilu or Shesiyah the day before. But be'etzem it's a Yom Nechama, it's a Yom Simcha, de'elmalei da'asida lihibanos. If it were not for the fact that it would be built v'zichron Yerushalayim ola l'tova l'mayla, and the memory of Yerushalayim is still alive, lo haya evel misorer b'nafshosenu, we wouldn't feel avelos. V'haya nishkach k'meis milev, it would have been forgotten. V'imkein b'sha'as ha'ibul, sisu ita, dafka b'shas ha'ibul. The fact that we are being misabel is a siman of simcha. It's a siman of the very avelos. The dialectic is profound. The only reason why we're misabel is because we have simcha. Otherwise, we would give up. Why would we have avelos? It's over. But the only reason why is because we have this sense, v'hainu, Kol ha-misabel al Yerushalayim, zoche v'roa ata b'simchasa b'ivul zeh. Now I'm feeling the simcha. Right? Everybody in the world says, it doesn't say yiske v'yira. Everybody asks, Kol ha-misabel al Yerushalayim, yiske v'yira. No, it's now. We're seeing it now because that is what's propelling and that's what's generating our avelos. So we saw a number of aspects. We saw Rebby and Rabbi Yochanan, the distance, the direct proportion between distance in time and distance in emotional intensity. We saw them in Chaschinuch and the Reb Velvel about Tisha B'Av as a Yom Tainus and a Yom Avelos, and we saw the Rav about Avelos meaning not just Sichli but also Rikshi. We saw a number of examples, the Munkacher, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, about the Simcha that we should feel, the experience of Simcha to feel on Tisha B'Av. No Sakin for Birchas HaMazon, and that's a real takeaway from the whole day, is to think about how this becomes a relevant halacha. And Kol ha-misabel al Yerushalayim. I want to conclude with 3 examples of what I'm going to call resilience, of people who, having faced the worst, still continue to live, and that for us is really a source of great comfort and great nachama, even on the day of Tisha B'Av. I want to first talk about my father-in-law, Zachrono Livracha, Rabbi Yonah Weisbord, who was born in Europe and wonderful family, and was married, had a wife and 2 children. He came to the United States in 1938 when the winds of war were blowing. For whatever reason, his family, his wife and children were not able to come, and the plan was that they would come. And then the curtain shut on September 1st, 1939, and he comes to Boston, and he's a rabbi in a small town outside of Boston in Milford, Massachusetts. And it's 1940, and it's 1941, and it's 1942, and it's 1943, and it's 1944. He has no idea what happened to his wife and to his 2 children. And after the war in 1945, he gets word that they were killed. And it's hard for me to imagine going to sleep every night for 6 years, the feelings that he has. I'm here, they're there. He knows what's going on there, maybe not in exact detail. Go to sleep every night. He's a rabbi in a shul. He gets up, puts on tefillin, davens shachris, counsels people, teaches Torah, next day, the next day, the next day, for 6 years. For 6 years. Then after the war, he remarried to my mother-in-law, and they had 9 children. And to me, this is amazing. This is amazing. So he himself was not in the concentration camps, but he had another trauma, suffered an enormous trauma, and was baina abayis. Was baina abayis when he passed away on the back of his matzeva in Eretz HaChaim in Beit Shemesh. We put the names of his parents, of his siblings, of his wife, of his children. And he was baina abayis. Today, that bias consists of close to 200 people between children and spouses and grandchildren and spouses and great-grandchildren. There are probably around 200 people. I think about the Kleisenberger Rebbe, who did go through hell. The Kleisenberger Rebbe lost 10 children, and after the war, he picks himself up, and he starts a life again. There are thousands of people like that. There are thousands of people like that. We know about him because he's so famous. And for me, what's so amazing is that he builds a hospital. You know, Chassidish Rebbe builds a hospital because he knows that you need a hospital. He doesn't only build Kiryat Sanz, he doesn't only maimed doiris of Yerei Shamayim and Talmidei Chachamim Chassidim, but he builds a hospital. The world has to be a better place. The world has to be healthy. And what about all those Jews, less and less, walk around with numbers on their arms? With numbers on their arms. I think it was the Satmar Rebbe, I don't know. I heard it in the name of a few Rebbes where a Chassid says to the Rebbe, "Nu Rebbe, now you can give us a bracha. But after you pass away, 120, where am I going to get a bracha? Where am I going to get a bracha?" And the Rebbe said, "Go into shul on a Tuesday morning, and you find the guy who's rolling up his sleeve to put on tefillin and their numbers on his arm. That's where you get the bracha. You find a woman who's lighting Shabbos candles on Friday night and their numbers on her arm. That's where you get a bracha. And that's the secret of Nitzchias of Klal Yisrael. We mourn today for what happened today. It happened today. Rav Ada bar Abba tore Kriya a second time, not for the past, but for the present. Rabbi Akiva ripped his flesh, not for the past, but for the present. But there's also optimism, and there's also hope, and there's also faith. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give us the capacity for Bila Hamavas LaNetzach, to appreciate what we lost, and to have the strength to be able to continue. We'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll start the keynotes.